thank you guys for joining me. I know. Oh, was there a spoiler? Maybe. Okay, well, I didn't read it. So we got a slight new setup. The camera's a little bit further back so we can see more. Right? I think this is good. Thank you guys so much. We're at 964 subscribers, dude. We are so close to 1,000. Oh my goodness, I can almost taste it. I can taste the protein in my mouth, but I can almost taste it. I can almost taste the 1,000 subscribers. So if you like what you are going to see and you want us to reach our new milestone, make sure you make sure you smash that like, comment, and subscribe button. Like, comment, and subscribe button. There's no button for subscribe. Comment on the video, share the video, like the video, post the video, spread the video. Tell your neighbors, tell your bus driver, tell everybody. You know, tell your old grandma that you don't maybe talk to anymore, or your old grandpa that you probably don't talk to, but like, yo, bro, check out this YouTuber. This guy is popping off on Lord of the Mysteries. You know, let them know. Let all the old timers know. Hey, man, you should listen to this guy read. He's pretty cool, man. He's pretty badass. 36 till cosplay. I know. Oh, and we still have a bet. Potentially Audrey cosplay. Potentially we convince somebody to wear the Audrey cosplay, or potentially Klein cosplay. We have 3 different options, you know, that we can mix and match. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what I can get. I can almost see the Audrey cosplay. I know. Wait, don't forget the original bet. Hold up. We added a, remember, don't forget. Hold up. I'm not running back on the promise. There was the Audrey cosplay. I was like, I'll fucking do it myself. Oh yeah, we're swearing a little too early in the video. Like, I'll fucking do it myself. I'll convince somebody to wear the outfit, or I'll wear the Klein outfit. We'll see. The Audrey cosplay about to bring in new viewers. Maybe. Will they bring in new viewers? No. You wear the cosplay we want. I know you guys want it. We'll see. All right, I'll shut up now, dude. All right, I think that was a beautiful intro. Are you guys ready? All right, let's go into the chapter, dude. All right, chapter 152 is called Nice Attempt. I'm gonna turn the volume down just a little bit, just ahead of time. The gray fog filled the air as an internally unchanged manner as illusionary crimson stars hung around him at varying distances. Klein sat inside the lofty palace that looked like the home of a giant as he looked at the familiar sight before him. After a few seconds, he looked away and made a yellowish-brown goatskin appear before him. Then he lifted a pen to write his amended incantations for the summoning ritual. Light a candle to represent myself. Use a spiritual wall to create a holy environment. Drip a drop of full moon essence oil in the flame. Chameleon pure dew, slumber flower powder, and other ingredients. No, there's no need to be particular in this step because it's summoning oneself. Recite the incantation below. I, an ancient Hermes, Jotun, Dragonish, or Elvish, it must be a deep shout. I summon in my name, Hermes. So he's summoning himself to see what happens. The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the gray fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. After scrutinizing it 3 times, Klein wrote a divination statement at the bottom. There will be danger if the ritual above is carried out outside of this world. Because there's a second Klein. The original Klein is still outside. That's why it'd be dangerous if 2 identical souls meet, maybe? We're cooking, we're burning the kitchen. I'm not going to read chat. I don't want to know. Hold up. Yeah. Phew, he let out a breath, put down the pen, took out the silver chain in his sleeve as it held it with his left hand. The topaz pendant hung above the goat stand steadily, only a slight distance above the divination statement. He reined in his thoughts and entered a cogitation state. There will be danger if the ritual above is carried out outside in this world. There will be danger if the ritual above is carried out outside of this world. After reciting the statement 7 times, Klein opened his eyes, which were almost all black, and looked at the topaz pendant, which was spinning counterclockwise. This meant a negative outcome. There will be no danger. So they're lying. They're trying to... So the original Klein is trying to put him off the scent. I can give it a try then. Klein made the items before himself disappear. He then extended his spirituality to wrap around himself and simulated the sensation of falling. When he returned to his bedroom due to the fact that he had sealed the entire room with a spiritual wall, Klein immediately cleared his desk and put out a mint-scented candle right in the middle. Hi, Ellie. Hi. Are you excited reading this like I am? Yeah, you sound excited. He pressed slightly on the candle wick, rubbing it with his spirituality to cause friction and ignite the candle. Under the flickering dim light, Klein dripped the corresponding essential oils, extracts, and herb powders onto the flame. A soothing fragrance suddenly filled the air, and the room altered between the brightness and darkness. Taking 2 steps back, Klein looked at the candle that represented himself and shouted in Jotun, "I." Then he switched to Hermes. "I summon in my name the fool that doesn't belong to this era. The mysterious ruler above the great fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck." Just as he's finished speaking, he sensed the wavering candlelight suddenly dance vigorously and produce a vortex with surrounding fragrance. It absorbed his spirituality at an insight rate. "Hi, Ellie. Would you like to go outside?" Sentence. Just as he finished speaking, I'm gonna reread the sentence. Just as he finished speaking, he sensed the wavering candlelight suddenly dance vigorously and produce a vortex with the surrounding fragrance. It absorbed his spirituality at an insane rate. "Slumber flower, a herb that belongs to the red moon. Please bestow your powers to my incantation." Klein endured the discomfort brought about from having his spirituality drained as he finished reciting the incantation. Then he saw the candlelight stop wavering. It's just a straight fire. It was tainted with gray luster, which extended to about the size of an arm. What's a what's a luster? Like when the light goes out? "I didn't summon anything. All right, perhaps I'll need to respond to it above the gray fog." Oh, he has to respond to himself to see what happens. "It's really quite troublesome to summon myself," Klein muttered. Why does he even want to do this in the first place? Klein muttered, pinching his aching forehead. This guy is a little too what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? He's a little too curious. He's gonna get himself in trouble. He calmed himself down, then took 4 steps counterclockwise before arriving above the gray fog again. He saw that there was a rippling light above the seat of honor at an ancient table. It stemmed from the strange symbol at the back of the corresponding chair. The strange symbol that was made up of a pupilless eye, a symbol representing secrecy, and contorted lines that represented change. All Klein did was extend his hand to reach for it when he immediately heard it? "I summon in my name the fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the great fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck." Then he saw surging spirituality combined with a rippling light that formed into the illusionary yet shapeless door. The door shook as though if it wanted to open. Klein immediately felt inspired and strongly willed for it to be pushed open. Wait, what door are we talking about? Then he saw surging spirituality combined with a rippling light that formed into an illusionary yet shapeless door. Oh shit! This is the fan art we saw. It's a fucking door. This reminds me of Susumi. No, not Susumi. Yeah, Susumi. The whole door part, right? Oh shit. The door shook as though it wanted to be open. Klein immediately felt inspired and strongly willed for it to be pushed open. Almost instantly, the boundless fog and lofty palace was drawn forward. There were a few barely noticeable ripples. The ripple surged towards the illusionary yet shapeless door, but no matter how much Klein pushed it, the door couldn't be pushed open. This is so cool, dude. Every movement resulted in dead silence. The door of summoning has yet to take shape. Klein reined in his will and caressed his eyebrows when he analyzed the reason why he had failed. He had casually named the door of summoning. This sounds important. I'm lacking spirituality, so I can't form a complete door of summoning. When I advance the sequencing clown and pass through the initial danger state, I can give it another try. Maybe it won't be a problem by then. Klein nodded lightly and roughly understood what happened. This experiment gave him a confidence boost. He felt heartened as this was the first time that he received some sort of response from the mysterious space above the gray fog. Other than the incident where he divined the eternal blazing sun, there will come a day when all understand all the secrets here. Klein excitedly declared in his heart. He then made a rapid descent into the boundless fog after he wrapped himself up with spirituality. Klein quickly blew out the candle after he returned to his bedroom. He ended the ritual and cleaned up his desk before he removed the spiritual wall. A gust of wind suddenly blew as he yawned. He collapsed into the bed, covered himself with a blanket, and quickly fell asleep. In the hazy dream that followed, Klein woke up abruptly and realized that he was sitting in the living room of his home and was holding the Tingansini honest paper. Don't tell me Captain is here again. Oh, now is he gonna steal his food again? He was stunned at first as he looked outside the oriole window, finding humor in his exasperation. With a creak, the door opened. Dunn walked in slowly, wearing his black windbreaker. Okay, is this going to be a serious nightmare, or is he just going to be trolling with him? That went beyond his knees and held a cane and pipe. He was still wearing his black top hat, and underneath it were his profound gray eyes. Dunn came to the living room and sat on the single-seat sofa. He leisurely crossed his right leg over his left. He put aside his cane, took off his hat, and leaned backwards. He sat there quietly and looked at Klein as though he was thinking. What's he thinking? Captain, what are you trying to do today? Klein was dumbfounded. In order to not expose that he knew that it was a dream. Wait, in order to not expose that he knew that it was a dream, he pretended to not be affected by it and continued to read the newspaper. Oh, wait. So Klein thinks he's unaware that it's a dream. To experiment, generally used to mean a shine, gentle sheen, or a soft glow. Luster. Oh, the flame. He's like summoning a door into the world when he entered his prayers in a great fog. Okay. What happened was that he used a ritual style he learned from Dali to pray to himself, and he went above the great fog and responded to his own prayer. And he can't do that in the real world, right? Because it has consequences. Yo, Ayo, early live. Yeah, thank you for joining, Adam. What's up, guys? Yeah. I remember seeing fan art of a door. I remember a client looking at a door. Wait, so just to be aware, so Klein is conscious, and I've known he's always been conscious in his dreams when Dunn enters, but Dunn assumes he doesn't know he's aware. Like, he assumes that Klein is in his dream and it's all in his dream. Like, he doesn't realize that he's conscious, right? Yeah, he can't open it because he didn't have enough spirituality to open the door. Okay, I got it. Okay. In order to not expose that he knew that it was a dream, he pretended to not be affected by it and continued to read the newspaper. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. He lifted his head to look at Dunn, who sat opposite of him. He found out that the captain was still sitting there quietly and was looking at him in deep thought. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 50. Is he just observing him? 15 minutes. Klein flipped through the newspaper back and forth multiple times, looking at Dunn from the corner of his eyes, and noticed that the man was still looking at him quietly in deep thought. Holy shit. Nah, hold up. This is kind of sus. This is kind of scary. Captain, you're making me very uncomfortable. Klein couldn't sit in peace. He folded the newspaper and put it aside. He nodded and smiled at Dunn. Then he went to the kitchen to get a piece of cloth and started wiping the dining table and coffee table. Captain, look, my dream is so simple, so ordinary, so boring. There's nothing worth observing. Hurry up and leave. Why don't you pretend to be a ghost and I'll pretend to be frightened? Then you can complete your achievement as a nightmare. Okay, is he trying to actually analyze what he's doing, or is he trying to find like, oh, he's cleaning his table? Let me steal the curtains. He prayed in silence and lifted his head, but all he saw was Dunn's deep gray eyes that were still in deep thought. Under such a quiet and constant gaze, Klein wiped all the furniture and cleaned his room. He was so exhausted in his dream. What wore him out the most was Dunn Smith, who was watching him quietly in deep thought. Klein had no idea. Oh, wait. What did it say? We're offline. Are we good? Okay, so we are good. Klein had no idea how much time has passed while he made himself busy until he finally saw his captain uncross his legs and stand up. Then he took his cane, put it on his hand, and walked through the door. Klein held his breath and watched Dunn leave his house. He couldn't help but lift in his right hand to wave goodbye. Phew, when everything returned to normal, Klein let out a breath of relief. That really was such a nightmare. He thought to himself, too preoccupied for fears. Backlund, West Backland. Okay, hold up. People were correcting me. We'll see how it's Backlund. Bro just read it. It's Lund. Okay, so it is. Okay, because I thought people were saying Backlund. Okay. Backlund, West Backlund, Philip department store. Philip was on the top of the end department store in Lowen's kingdom, but only open to nobles and wealthy people who were qualified to be members. There was also luxurious carriages parked outside with different emblems printed on them. Not only was it safe to place for shopping, it also became a popular social venue due to the strict restriction of members. Audrey brought her maidservant Annie and her golden retriever Susie. Under the ushering of an eagerly attentive attendant, she got off the carriage and walked through the entrance. Along the way, she saw the daughters of Viscount, Countess, or maidens with parents of high social status. She maintained her elegance and greeted them all gracefully. She communicated with her different nobles on different topics. For instance, when she faced particular countess, she would compliment the fittings of the countess' dress, and when she greeted a particular baroness, she would praise the outstanding performance of the baroness's husband in the House of Lords. Audrey hadn't been good at the at that previously she was too sudden and too arrogant, but now she didn't even need to put in much effort to respond perfectly. In the spectators' eyes, most of the emotions and thoughts of the female nobles were written on their faces. Arriving on the second floor, Audrey turned into a shop and sold the ready-made dresses. The attendant in the shop was a petite maiden. She wore a black and white dress and had shoulder-length blonde hair. She was the arbiter Zhao de Recha. She works in the shop. Audrey gave Susie a look without changing her facial expressions. The dog understood what her owner meant immediately and ran to another counter. Maidservant Annie went after Susie to try and drag her back. Well done, Audrey complimented inwardly and walked next to Zhao de Recha, pretending to look at the variety of dresses. Why did you arrange to meet here for? Zhao inquired with a whisper while she loudly introduced the dresses. Her voice was tender, just like a child's. Where's the original attendant? Audrey asked in reply instead of answering her. Zhao looked around and said, I convinced her she was happy to rest for the morning. Audrey looked at the different style dresses while she took out a piece of neatly folded paper from her lamp leather handbag and secretly passed it to Zhao. Rear Admiral Hurricane Quillingus has snuck into Backland. This is the portrait. I hope that you can find him for me. Oh, and don't alert him. Zhao received the piece of paper and unfolded it to take a quick glance. She saw that it was a lifelike portrait of a man in his 30s that had a unique broad chin. I was once constantly praised by my art teacher. Audrey saw a glance at Zhao and lifted her head. She added, the kingdom offers a reward of 10,000 pounds for Quillingus. If he were to be arrested, even the person that only provided clues would definitely be awarded with a few £100. Just as she finished her sentence, she saw Zhao's eyes beam with joy as she had expected. That's not good. Sounds like we're gonna fight him. It's not good. That's kind of scary. Next chapter. Chapter 153 is called Final Act of Laying the Foundation. That sounds super important. A unique wide jaw, his hair is in a bun like an ancient knight's, eyes that look at you with intent of an icy smile. Zhao de Recha was half slumped on the sofa as she scrutinized the portrait that Audrey had handed to her. In her eyes, the man might as well have been a living, walking pile of money. After commending the looks of the gray pirate Quillingus to her memory, she proceeded to read the description written at the bottom of the pages. Brown hair, dark green eyes. The portrait can only be used as a general reference as the target possesses the ability to transform... What? He possesses the ability to transform into another person. It is unknown how long he can maintain that transformation. The portrait can only be used as a reference. The target possesses the ability to transform into another person only as a reference to transform into another person. Did my brain just shut down, or did I reread the same thing 3 times? Then why did I spend so much time memorizing his facial features? Zhao wore a dazed look, as if it was the first time she had witnessed the evil intentions the world had her. She looked up and saw Forrest Wall slumped. Oh, the book writers with her. She looked up and saw Forrest Wall slumped languidly in a sofa. I read that wrong. Longitudinally in a I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce that again. In a sofa across from her, she seemed to be muttering to herself, there's no way to look for this person. We don't know what he looks like. All we know is that he is not from Buckland. There are far too many foreigners who come in Buckland every day. Forrest attempted to sit up but failed even after 3 tries. I'm only an apprentice, not an arbiter. She pouted as she placed her hand on the armrest of the sofa, successfully pulling herself up into the sitting position. Does the lady think that we are prophets? Forrest jested. Zhao was about to answer when she realized that there were still footnotes she hadn't gone through yet. She recited them out softly. That suggested the ways of searching are the followers. 1. Quillingus has an evil object with him. It needs to devour the flesh, blood, and soul of a living person every day. You can consider looking for missing vagrants. 2. Search for Quillingus information thoroughly and build a profile of his unique hobbies and behaviors. A person's facial features might change, but as long as he hasn't received any special training, he will often act like himself, such as things he prefers to eat, his gait, actions he used to performing, and many other details. Forrest nodded as she listened. Miss Audrey isn't the innocent, naive teen that the rumors of her suggest. She has a meticulous heart and calm sense of observation. Is that so? Zhao asked, doubtful. She didn't expect an answer. She changed the topic by suggesting, I'll be in charge of gathering the information. Can you consolidate that pile of gold pounds? No, the Admiral's hobbies and unique traits. Forrest opened her eyes wide open as she shook the steel box containing her cigarettes. How can you bear to do so? How can you bear to make a dainty, sensitive author do consolidation, analysis, and deductions? Zhao shot her good friend a glance as she exuded an air of authority without realizing it. There's an interesting paragraph of deduction in your Stormwind Mountain Villa. Force pulled her shoulders back and lowered her head. She looked at the coffee table as she said, do you know how much of my hair I pulled out, how much sleep I lost just for that paragraph? She quickly lifted her head and looked at Zhao Derecha, then lowered her head once again and grumbled, life is short. There are too many things that we need to do. We must waste our time on such uninteresting menial tasks. That's very reasonable. Zhao nearly nodded in agreement. She fought hard to keep her authority as an arbiter. Then do you have any other ways to solve this problem? She suppressed her voice, making her childlike voice sound deeper. Force thought for nearly 20 seconds before looking up suddenly. We can hire a professional after you finish collecting information on Rear Admiral Hurricane. We shall erase the name and hand it over to an excellent detective. Then ask him to do the consolidation and deduction. All we have to do is pay a fee. Why didn't I think of that? Zhao's mind went blank. Force and Zhao looked at each other without saying anything. When the atmosphere became awkward, she cleared her throat. We'll do it according to your suggestion. After saying this, she quickly added, you'll pay the fee. Howes Street Divination Club. Oh, we're back. Hi, hello. Wait, who are we saying hi to? Hello, guys. Hello, everybody. Thank you to everybody who's joining. Hi, guys. Hello, how are you? Good afternoon, Mr. Moretti. The pretty receptionist Angelica looked at Klein in surprise. You rarely come on Fridays. Exhausted from searching for the house with the red chimney, Klein smiled and said, fate never repeats itself indefinitely. It always brings us some surprises. He was in the area, and the time had expired on the carriage he'd rented. Thus, he came for a cup of black tea and some rest. Furthermore, this would serve as the final layer of the foundations. What? With the new experience at the Divination Club, he would logically mention the application to Dunsmith. Your words are always so philosophical, Angelica praised. She's so mesmerized by him, dude. Klein thought for a moment before saying with deliberation, I might not come to the Divination Club too often in the future, so you need not recommend me to others anymore. He had already digested his potion, so he had to advance towards a new goal. Why? Angelica said in a shock and puzzlement, you're already made a name for yourself in the club. Most people know that your divinations are very accurate and miraculous. In fact, we consider getting you to come in on Sundays as a lecturer. If I paid £1 for every divination I performed, then I would keep doing this regardless of how tired I was. Besides, I still have to investigate the houses with red chimneys and find the culprit as soon as possible. Klein smiled warmly. Madam, do not convince me to stay. This is the arrangement of fate. I won't stop coming to the Divination Club entirely. It's just that my visits will become less frequent. I'll still pay the membership fees on time. I can get reimbursed for it anyways. I will come down occasionally to monitor the place. Klein added to his heart. How regretful. I hope that you will be at the club when I happen to be lost. Angelica sighed. She realized that this wasn't as surprising as she imagined after initial shock had passed. Perhaps such a miraculous year that still respect to fate wasn't someone who could be held back by a club in Tingen. Angelica smiled. Oh, she's like, he has bigger things ahead. As if thinking about something else. Side black tea. Yes, Klein returned a smile. He spent about 20 minutes in the club, spending the time resting, finishing his black tea. Before leaving the club, he took a public carriage back to Daffodil Street. When he entered, he opened the mailbox out of habit and saw that there was a letter placed inside not too long ago. Klein opened the letter and noticed that it was from Mr. AZIK. I will be heading to Morristown on Sunday and return on Wednesdays. Most of the citizens in Morristown are believers of the god. He's been heading there on Sundays, which means that according to the usual level of efficiency, the Nahawks would only receive the information on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I can make it to think that Mr. AZIK would remember my request. I hope that he remembers not to do it personally. Him summoning a spirit and doing something scary would suffice. Klein nodded slightly. He released his spirituality, burned the letter with friction. He flicked his hand, turning the flames into the ashes and allowed them to fall slowly onto the ground. Saturday afternoon, Klein was wearing his black windbreaker and hat. He had his cane in his hand as he walked slowly into Blackthorn Security Company. After greeting Roseanne, he looked at the partition and noticed that the captain's office was open. He deliberately spoke louder. Yesterday, I saw a girl who looked just like you at the Divination Club. Really? Roseanne asked, her interest piqued. Klein nodded without sincerity. Yes, in fact, I thought that she was your sister. I'm sorry to have to disappoint you, but I have no sisters, not even cousins. Roseanne left. Do you remember her name? No, why would I remember her name? Klein smiled. Looking at her was exactly like looking at you. Okay, so hold up. Is she like AZIK? Mr. AZIK? Nah. Can I take that as a compliment. Roseanne was a chatty girl who never needed others to start the conversation. She asked on her own accord, Klein, I would assume that you're earning quite a bit from the Divination Club. As a true seer, your abilities are far beyond those who take this as a hobby. It would still be good colleagues if you didn't mention this. Klein coughed. A seer has to be a respectful fate. We cannot use divinations to ask for abnormal privileges. Are you concluding your own maxim? I'm not going to say maximum. Are you concluding your own maxim for a seer? Roseanne asked out of curiosity. Yes, Klein answered frankly. After a brief chat, Klein said goodbye to Roseanne. She took his hat and walked towards the partition. Knock, knock, knock. He looked at Dunn Smith. Please just tell him about the acting method. Because he's going to send his application. He was drinking his coffee as he knocked on the open door. Please come in. Dunn looked up at Klein and adjusted his posture immediately. Klein had already probed the captain over the past 2 days. He confirmed that Dunn Smith hadn't mentioned the acting method as if he was trying it out. It was clear that he was also cautious of the higher-ups of the church. Oh! Maybe the church has a way to pry into Dunn Smith's dreams. Like when he goes into the dreams, maybe the church also has access to the dreams. That's why he didn't say it. Thus, he closed the door and sat across from Dunn. He said with a serious yet slightly excited expression, Captain, I believe that I have completely grasped the seer potion. I wish to submit a special application. Holy shit. Oh, dude, not Klein. Dunn is being so cautious with Klein. For good or bad intentions. So far, the most suspicious character in this whole series is Mr. AZIK. And Dunn Smith is the second most intriguing character behind Klein. I mean, Klein in and of itself, he's already like super intriguing because I'm like, how is he doing this? Is this like all a coincidence or not? Mr. AZIK has me really skeptical if he's going to be like a bad guy or a good guy. And Dunn, same with Dunn. I'm very curious if he's going to be a bad guy or a good guy. Both of them, AZIK and Dunn, like, I'm scared for them. I wish nothing but kindness and happiness for them, but I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared with how vague and mysterious they're being, dude. All right, let's go to the next chapter. Okay, what was it? Chapter 154? All right, chapter 154 is called Sharing Experience. This implies Dunn and Klein maybe sharing the acting method. As he looked into Klein's eyes, Dunn took a deep breath and leaned back. Oh. Then he slowly exhaled as he spoke. Are you certain? Ooh, that's good. Okay, are you certain? There were minor changes in his facial expression. He seemed to be well prepared for the special application, but he hadn't expected it to be so soon. Captain, why do you look so relieved? He's so proud that he's already ready. Captain, why do you look so relieved? Klein didn't conceal his smile as he said, I'm certain, Captain, when you fully master a potion, you'll feel a very special magical sensation. You'll have no doubt that you fully master the potion's special magical feeling. Dunn muttered those words softly as his eyebrows slowly knitted together. Oh, he's remembering his own experience. The captain advanced twice without fully digesting the potion. Of course, if he didn't know about the acting method, it would be difficult to fully digest it. He must have used a prolonged period of time to break it down and was subconsciously acting to minimize the risk of losing control. Poor Captain Klein quietly looked at Dunn Smith, but he didn't speak or say anything further so as to allow Dunn to think carefully. After almost a minute, Dunn's deep eyes reflected into Klein. Dunn's deep eyes? I like how, they talk about, his deep, sunken, gray eyes. I don't know. It makes it more mysterious whenever they say that. After almost a minute, Dunn's deep eyes reflected Klein's figure once again. He weighed his words before he said, maybe it would be a better option to wait another year. He's like, nah, bro, I'm ready. Let's do it now. What the captain means is that waiting another year would make it less conspicuous. With the example that Madame Deli set for me, the higher-ups wouldn't pay too much attention to me. At most, I would only be put on the list for observation. Klein thought and answered frankly. At first, I wanted to wait until next year to send in my special application. After all, there are too many things that I need to master. For instance, my combat arts is only at the beginner level. Not for long, dude. When he gets that, the Sacred Sun Charm. But Captain, don't you think that we've experienced too many coincidences and no coincidences. Too many coincidences in the last 2 months. We were chasing after the kidnappers when we came across the Antigonus notebook and the opposite room, which was technically the first fight with the security company and the kidnappers. The shipment of sealed artifact 2049 was delayed, but Ray Bieber didn't leave Tingen and tried to digest that power at the harbor. I went to attend a birthday banquet and triggered Hanas Vincent's incident. I went to investigate at the library and ran into the members of the Aurora Order. Too many damn coincidences. I don't know what these coincidences mean, but I feel insecure. That's why I want to enhance myself in the best possible way. Klein seized the opportunity to talk about the manipulator behind the scenes. It was something that he had planned to include in his schedule. Without exposing his uniqueness, he would remind the Nighthawks to make them search for more clues from different angles. When he said earlier would only lead to other Nighthawks to conclude that Klein had a discerning mind and was good at organizing his thoughts. Okay, all right. This guy's good. The moment Klein said the word but, Dunn's bodily leaned forward. In the end, he's I've never spelled this word in my life. Oh my god, the grammar's starting to throw me off now. He steepled his fingers in front of his mouth? What? He fixed his gaze. I'm assuming he's doing this in front of his mouth, right? Like he's like, oh, like, are you ready? He fixed his gaze and remained quiet, seemingly thinking about what Klein had said. After a while, Dunn lifted his head and said in a mellow and deep voice, very perceptive, perhaps there really is something lurking in the dark. Without waiting for Klein to speak, he instructed, you can submit the special application. All right, Klein lifted the corner of his lips when he answered. He got up with a smile and walked towards the door. As expected, he heard a familiar additional remark. It's going to be so funny when he just walks in with clown makeup. And Benson and Melissa's like, what the fuck? Like, are you good, bro? He's like, yeah, man. I'm changing careers. I'm going to be a clown now. Which, no, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, he's like, what? You went from like an investigator to a clown? What's going on here, dude? Hold on, Dunn called out. He weighed his words and said, take note of your choice of words. Don't worry, Captain. I place a far greater importance on this matter than you do. Klein nodded in agreement with a smile. At first, he thought Dunn would propose that they avoid going through the Holy Cathedral and instead advance to Sequence 8 in secret. Then they could go through the normal procedure after 3 years. However, after he thought it through, he realized that it was impossible. Regardless of whether it was through a special application or a normal application, the person who was going to advance still had to be investigated by the Holy Cathedral. Oh shit, so they're going to investigate. So he's going to be like in front of all these archbishops, right? And watch there be like some important archbishop that we aren't going to find out for like hundreds of chapters. There's going to be a name drop, but we're not going to hear about him for a long time. The only difference was that one method was relatively simple and the other was more complicated. If he had to become a Sequence 8 in secret, then it could be put the entire Tengen Nighthawks in trouble. Since Klein was finished with his mysticism lessons, he didn't go to the basement in a hurry, but walked to the clerk's office next door, leaving the captain's office. He found a man and woman. So it's the same new people. He found a man and a woman sitting in the office. The man was in his 30s and the woman was in her 20s. They were two newly added members. So new civilian staff members. They were surprised when Klein entered. Then they smiled and nodded in greetings. They were curious and in awe of the Beyonders that they worked with. Oh, so they're new civilian staff members. Klein did a chat with them but found an empty desk and began writing a draft for the special application. As he already had a draft in his head, it only took about 10 minutes to complete his initial work. After reading it a couple times and amending parts of it, he sat before the Ackerson Model 1346 typewriter and started typing his draft onto a document. Listening to the tapping on the keyboard, that sounds hype. So it sounds like this. Going like this. Oh shit, I'm skipping the chapter. Wait, listening to the... He's going like this. Can you guys hear that? Wait, can you guys hear that? Okay, hold up. I'm gonna read it. Listening to the tapping of the keyboard, the two clerks exchanged looks and stood up simultaneously. They left the office and went to the reception hall to chat with Roseanne, allowing Klein to have some privacy. Very careful and fully aware of the need to maintain secrecy, Klein stole a glance at their receding figures. As he complimented them, he focused on his work again and continued tapping on the typewriter. Just as he was going to complete his special application, Leonard Mitchell came out of the restroom. He looked around while he buttoned his shirt. There was an unrestrained beauty in his messy hair. What's the report you're writing? Leonard looked around the clerk's office as he leaned against the door frame with his right foot, tippy-toed to balance himself as his hands tucked into his pocket. His green eyes examined Klein with interest. Klein typed the last words and the last punctuation mark. He then turned his head and smiled. Special application. Leonard asked, puzzled. Klein, he's like, he's ready, dude. Klein picked up the paper and skimmed through it quickly. He casually explained a special application to advance the Sequence 8. Cough, cough. He's like, holy shit, dude. Leonard suddenly coughed vigorously. calmed down and asked, digest? Bro, you know quite a bit. What the fuck? Leonard is like, bro. Digest? Bro, you know quite a bit. Klein held his special application and walked before Leonard. He lifted an eyebrow and said, yes. He went, yes. Then he looked into his eyes and asked softly with a chuckle. I remember someone told me once that there are some people who are special, but who can do things that others can't, such as me, such as you. Dude, who is... Okay, Leonard is also kind of suspicious, man. Or maybe he has... Somebody put it nicely the other day. He just has... Maybe he just has main character complex and it's not that deep. Or maybe it is deep and he has main character complex for a reason. All the fingers of one hand touching the same fingers of the other hand and creating a steeple. All the fingers of one hand touching the same fingers on the other. Oh. Oh, he's like, are you ready? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cammy. That makes more sense. Leonard is a real main character. He has main character complex. I love him. I love him for that. Leonard, unless if he's really hiding something, then I'm gonna be looking forward to that. But as of right now, he just has main character complex. Leonard was suddenly at a loss for words. He could only change his standing posture and take his hands out of his pocket to cross them in front of his chest. He opened his mouth and finally organized his words. He asked in a low voice, don't you think that it's too risky? Okay. As he already knew about digesting, he definitely understood. As he already knew about digesting, he definitely understood that my advancement has no risk of losing control. Huh? Is he referencing to the tension from the higher-ups in the church? Dude, now everybody's scared of the church. Klein explained while in thought. Leonard, do you remember the first task that we worked on together? We were merely tracking... Yeah, I remember that. We were merely tracking kidnappers, but we realized that the room opposite had clues about the Antigonus family notebook. He repeated what he mentioned to Dunn once more. Leonard's expression grew heavy as he nodded in agreement. He muttered to himself and said, maybe I have to hurry up. Just as he finished, he suddenly looked at Klein as he flashed a smile and said, aren't you going to share your experience with us? The experience to quickly grasp a potion to avoid the risk of losing control. This guy sure can put on a facade quickly. Klein smiled and answered, I'm more than willing to. He was planning to seize the opportunity today to remind his Nighthawk teammates of how to manage. He's gonna tell everybody? Holy shit! He's gonna tell everybody. He was planning to seize. Oh, dude, Nighthawks are gonna go hard, bro. In a year or two, man, they're gonna be like peak of the Lone Kingdom, bro. They're gonna be like pinnacle beyond. Everybody's gonna be like sequence 1, bro. I'm ready. He was planning to seize the opportunity today to remind the Nighthawk teammates on how to minimize the risk of losing control. Of course, to maintain his personal safety, he couldn't say it straightforwardly as he did to Dunsmith. At most, he could describe the idea vaguely in a way that wouldn't alert anyone who was sent down by the higher-ups. Oh my god. The 2 new members were sent down from the church. The 2 new... Oh my god, they're fucking spies. Holy shit. All of a sudden, they bring in 2 fucking new civilian staff members that are excited to work for Beyonders. Nah. I've read too much anime and manga. Their sequence is so high that they don't even detect their Beyonders, and that's why they're just posing as civilian staff members, but the whole time they're going to be observing. So when Klein gives that hint, they're going to be like, holy shit, he knows the acting method. They're going to like somehow awkwardly interrupt, man. It's going to be some crazy shit. I'm ready. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. Leonard impatiently dragged Klein to the Nighthawk's recreation room. At that very moment, other than Royale, who was taking her shift at the Chinese Gate, Friar, Keenly, and Sikatron were there playing cards. Everyone. Leonard knocked on the half-closed door and spoke as he himself was reciting a poem. Let me introduce this man next to me, Mr. Klein Moretti, who has fully grasped his potion in a month and a half. This guy is so... He's like, he's a fucking poet. This guy is so dramatic. Klein suddenly felt awkward. What? Even Sikatron, the author who wasn't famous and barely sold any books, cocked her head sideways as though she was testing her hearing ability. Leonard, don't joke around. You're always exaggerating things. Keenly covered his cards helplessly. Friar held his cards as he looked at Klein. He kept quiet for a while and said, are you sure that you've already fully grasped the potion? Yes, Klein could feel his concern as he nodded confidently. There was an obvious indication. What really? Klein shouted a delayed response and stood up. Leonard chuckled and pointed at the paper in Klein's hands as he said, this is the special application that he's going to hand in, the special application to advance the sequence A. How did you do that? Sikatron had many questions, but she only voiced the one that concerned her the most after taking a deep breath. She was normally quiet and elegant, but now she had a burning passion in her eyes that couldn't be surprised. Klein found a chair and sat down. He lowered his voice and answered, I found inspiration from Maxim of Mystery Priors. Do as you wish, but do not harm. Leonard supplemented. Yes, according to our confidential information, following this maxim gives the Mystery Priors a lower probability of losing control. Do as you wish, but do not harm? Klein explained when he learned from Olnil. After that, Madame Daly's example gave me a better understanding of the process. Spirit Medium Daly keenly asked in reply, hoping to gain confirmation. Yes, Madame Daly has handed in a special application before. She only used 2 years to become a spirit medium from Corpse Collector. She once told Olnil that she wanted to be a real spirit medium. Klein explained in detail. Of the experience I gained in my divination club and corresponding feedback that I've received, I gradually concluded my seer principles. Then I followed it strictly and tried to become a real seer. When I did so, I realized that the speed at which I grasped the potion became faster. As they listened to Klein recount, Friar, Sika, and the rest fell into deep thought. Even Leonard pretended to be thinking, oh, because he knows the acting method. Oh, and he's trying to hide the fact that he knows. The music's going hard? Death Stranding music goes pretty hard. I know, people kind of make fun of this game for being like an Amazon delivery game, but like just the feeling and ambience behind that game is kind of crazy. Like it is just a feeling you get, right? You gotta feel the game. Why is the music so creepy right now? It hits, man. I'm going to hand in my special application. Klein waved the paper in his hands. If you have any problems, do ask me privately. All right, Friar replied coldly with a nod. Klein left the reception room and knocked on the door to the captain's office again. He sat down opposite to Dunn, then took up a pen and ink pad. He signed and stamped his thumbprint. Captain, this is my special application. After that, he passed the paper to Dunn with both hands. Dunn looked through it carefully and put it down the application. I'll submit it to the Holy Cathedral as soon as possible. You should be prepared to be examined, perhaps next week or the following week. All right? Klein took a deep breath and nodded seriously. He stood up, exited the captain's office, and closed the door behind him. During the process, he thought about the application that he had sent in there. There was a thought that popped up in his head. I wonder what kind of examination it'll be. Okay. That was a good chapter. Okay, chapter 155 is called Urgent Meeting. After collecting himself, Klein went down to the basement and walked to Channa's gate. He knocked on the door to the guard's room. Inside, Royale Reedon had already packed her personal belongings. She immediately smoothed her hair and stood up when she saw the person taking over her shift. After greeting each other with a nod, Klein suddenly said, I've had some success in grasping my potion and have shared my experience with Friar and the rest. You can ask them about it. Royale, who typically didn't have much expression, looked at Klein with a little shock. Her lips quivered a little and said, all right, madam, let's hope that you can still maintain your calm composure in a while. There are already a bunch of dazed people sitting in the reception room right now. Klein laughed and made his way. Dude, this guy is he's such a trooper. He wants to help everybody without putting them in too much danger. Klein laughed and made his way behind the table, expertly taking out the tin can which Dunsmith used to store his Fermo coffee. After making himself a cup of aromatic coffee, Klein sat down and relaxed. He looked out at the lonely hallway and allowed his thoughts to roam free. Let's hope that Mr. Zik's mission is successful and that doesn't leave behind any clues. Well, even if there are clues, I can just pretend to not notice them. I wonder where the mutated Sun Sacred emblem is sealed behind Channa's gate. Since it doesn't possess any living qualities, it only needs a little space. Oh! So everybody is going to leave and Klein stays behind because he's in the Channa's gate. And because he's the only one in Channa's gate, he's going to be able to get a piece of the blood. Ah, okay. Come to think of it, I haven't been inside Channa's gate. I'm not sure what it looks like on the inside. Why are you going to go in? To be able to keep the wheelchair artifacts of varying sizes safe and maintain surveillance, it must be quite special indeed. For example, the ashes of Saint Selena. Many thoughts streaked past Klein's head when he suddenly heard urgent footsteps. He focused and shook as he looked towards the door. He saw old Neil wearing his classic black robe appearing in the corridor with a black carpet in his hands. He made his way into the ground room and said nothing, but instead observed Klein thoroughly. Mr. Neil, did something happen? Klein let out a dry chuckle and took a sip of his fragrant coffee. Old Neil sized up inside. To think that you would find inspiration from the maxim of the mystery priors in Dali. I have to praise the goddess. I also have to thank you. I feel like my music a little loud. I also have to thank you for your teachings. Klein gave a reply in all seriousness. O'Neill pulled back a chair and sat down. He said, a little depressed, how good would it be if it was 20 years ago? For him. Klein maintained his silence, for he knew that O'Neill wasn't allowed to consume any more potions because of his age and his health. What? Even if he had completely digested the one he had right now, under such circumstances, anything he said would have agitated him. My earliest thoughts was to quickly gain control of my potion from the maxim of the mystery prior, but regrettably, I wasn't embarking in the right direction. Dali's success did give me some clues, but I was already more than 50 years old back then. And he's older than 50? Music goes hard? It does go pretty hard sometimes. And I had also given up on my efforts. If the Baldur's Gate 3 music doesn't fit right here, let me know. I subconsciously thought that her success was a result of her genius and that the average person wouldn't be able to emulate her achievements. Old Neil rubbed his temples as he described his disappointment. He was silent for a few minutes before he lifted his head. He looked at Klein. It sure is regrettable that only now I understand what I've missed out at this age. Old Neil had a faint understanding of the acting method. Hold up. I kind of know what song to play. It sure is regrettable that the... Wait. He was silent for a few minutes before he lifted his head. He looked at Klein. It sure is regrettable that now do I understand what I've missed out on this age. Old Neil should have had a faint understanding of the acting method. He merely understood what happened after I shared my experience. Klein consoled. It would have made too much of a difference. The church doesn't hold a sequence A corresponding to the mystery prior. Oh, so he's been stuck at 9. Perhaps the Holy Cathedral does have it. No, if they have it, they would have at least tell us its name. It's also possible that the underground market might have it. O'Neill muttered. He shook his head as he stood up. He laughed and said, at least I didn't lose control. I've already lived healthfully for decades, praised the lady. He drew a crimson moon in front of his chest and left the guard room for a little dejected. He had lost his usual screwed look. Klein looked at Old Neil back and suddenly let out a long sigh. He was even more perplexed as to why the higher-ups of the church would hide the acting method. Klein collected himself after some time, placing his attention on the confidential information of the Nighthawks in front of him. Ever since he pulled a youth from the City of Silver into the Terror Club and learned that the City of Silver still used the ancient names for many things, he found it necessary to enhance his knowledge in these areas. Sometime later, he heard another set of footsteps. These footsteps were slow and steady. At the same time, an image of Dunsmith wearing a black windbreaker flashed past his mind. My spiritual senses... choking on my saliva. My spiritual senses have been elevated after fully digesting a seer potion. Klein nodded in understanding. He saw the captain a few seconds later. He literally observed him before he even walked in. That's kind of crazy. A letter for... No way it's been approved already. It's like, oh, the church was waiting for Klein. They know he's already digested, so they were just waiting. So he didn't have to wait a week or two. A letter for you. Dunn extended his right arm and flicked his wrist, tossing the letter over to Klein. Klein lifted his hand and tried to grab the letter, but be it his judgment or reaction, he missed. He fucking missed. The letter fell on the floor, leaving... That was such a badass move. If only he caught it. Klein. The letter fell on the floor, leaving Klein's right hand extended awkwardly in the air. Under the suddenly sullen atmosphere, his right hand first became rigid, then he pulled it back towards his head and pretended to smooth out his hair. He's just trying to play that shit off, dude. The light from the gas lamp isn't bright enough. Klein made a perfectly statement casually. He bent his back and picked up the letter, giving it a curiosity glance. Mr. Hornicus... It's a letter from... Oh, never mind. From Daxter Gudrian. He nodded in understanding and pulled open a drawer to retrieve a letter opener. According to the rules of the Nighthawks, if there was a clear and correct recipient, Rosanna and the rest of the clerics would give the letter directly to the person that the letter was addressed to. If the recipient was anonymous or an unknown address, it would be handed over to Dunn. He could then ask around or make a decision. Klein carefully pried open the letter and took out the pieces of paper within. He quickly unfolded the piece of paper and read through it. He realized that the asylum Dr. Daxter was asking for an urgent meeting at 2 in the afternoon today. He had obtained... Why is he in... Oh, man, they're on him. He realized that the asylum doctor was asking for an urgent meeting at 2... Oh, he assumes, not that it's confirmed. He had obtained the telepathist formula, or is it regarding something else? Klein lifted the letter in his hand and looked at Dunn. Captain, my informant, the one from the psychology alchemist, wishes to meet at 2 in the afternoon. Did he say anything else? Dunn asked as he was expecting this. No, Klein shook his head. Dunn thought for a moment, then said in a heavy voice, get Leonard to watch over Transcape for the time being. I'll go with you. Oh my god, we're gonna get a fucking fight with Dunn and Klein. These urgent requests to meet could sometimes be a trap. I've heard of many similar incidences. Further, it's something important. We can act quickly. Captain, you sure are experienced, not to mention being the most reliable, trustworthy captain without memory issues whenever we have something serious to do. Klein immediately nodded. All right. At 2 in the afternoon, inside the small shooting range 9 of the Zotland Street Shooting Club, Klein looked at the target that was covered in bullet holes, then glanced at the uneasy Dr. Dexter Guderian. What happened for you to look for mercenaries at the Hound Pub in such a fluster? Only by doing so with the bust of the Hound Pub right hand and letter immediately to the Blackthorn Security Company instead of waiting for Klein to collect it himself. Dexter observed Klein's expressions and body language, then responded softly, I find Hood Eugene a little abnormally today. Hood Eugene was a patient for the mental... Oh, shit. Is Hood Eugene the next fight? So it's not Quillingen. It's Hood Eugene. Hood Eugene was a patient from the mental asylum that had roped Daxter into the psychology alchemist. What sort of abnormalities had he exhiberated? Oh my god, I'm sorry. Klein pressed, displaying his professionalism. Daxter heaved a sigh of relief as if he had found a pillar of support. He said while deliberating his words, he seems to have really gone insane. Klein asked in shock. Didn't Hood Eugene feign his illness and infiltrate the mental asylum to attempt to influence the patients in order to train his mental abilities? He had really turned sick, genuine insanity. Oh shit, he's losing control. I think so. Daxter paced around anxiously. I could hold a normal conversation with him in the past and receive guidance on how to correctly use my beyonder powers. But in the past few days, his thought process and his condition has become really weird. I can barely communicate with him. He was just like my other patients, even though I've managed to get the telepathist formula as a result, but I cannot determine if it's real or fake. I'm afraid that there might be some uncontrollable changes that might occur. No matter, as a seer who has the mysterious world above the gray fog, I'll be able to determine if it's real or fake. Klein heaved a sigh of relief before caressing his brows and asking, did he come into contact with anyone before he turned abnormal? Watch Triss be a patient. Oh, I got it. Triss snuck into the asylum, and he's gonna use him as a scapegoat for whatever reason. Like, she probably instigated him. Only the patients. I cannot guarantee that, though. I'm not in the asylum for the whole day. I also need time to rest, Daxter said, his expression serious. Klein nodded, as if it was something trivial. Don't worry, I'll send someone to protect you in secret. You should find out who Eugene has come into contact with as soon as possible. Also, you have to be careful. He might be testing you. You should also report this to the members of the Psychology Alchemist and see how the higher-ups of your organization react. Would you like to react to the 2 Dongguo trailers after you finish Volume 1? Oh, hell, I'm gonna rewatch them. I watched the trailer. Okay, wait. I have watched the trailer before. I watched the trailer without reading any subtitles. I just wanted to see the imagery because people were saying it was super smooth. But I plan to re-watch the trailer at the end of Volume 1 and see what I pick up on and like fully digest the trailer. No pun intended. Not like after he has after I fully digest Volume 1, I plan to re-watch the trailers. Yeah, that's the plan. All right, Daxter propped up his golden spectacles, recovering the calm of a spectator. He then took out a piece of paper from his pocket and handed it over to Klein. This is a formula for the telepathist potion, but I cannot guarantee its authenticity. We will verify it. Klein smiled in response. He unfolded the piece of paper and spot and looked at it. Main ingredients: the complete pituitary gland of a mature rainbow salamander, 10 milliliters of spinal fluid from a Farsman rabbit. Supplementary ingredients: chestnut spore 5 grams, dragon tooth grass powder 8 grams, 3 petals of pure white elf flowers, pure water 100 milliliters. Excellent, Klein praised. He folded the piece of paper and stuffed it into the inner pocket of the t-shirt. Oh, I have a question. I don't think this is you guys can answer if it's not technically a spoiler. When they say I need dragon's tooth or white, like white elf flower, like when they say dragon tooth, are they like are they requesting a physical dragon's tooth from like the first epoch, because that's when there was monsters and beasts, or are there like just certain things that have that name and terminology? Like, it's not necessarily a dragon's tooth, or is it like actually a dragon's tooth? If you can say that's a spoiler responding, and I won't bring it up again, but I don't know if it's an actual physical dragon's tooth or just like a tooth that's given that name. I don't know. Maybe both. That's a really good answer. Yeah, no, the elf. Yeah, that's why I didn't bring up the white elf flower. If I'm mistaken, it's the name of the flower. At least what it's called might be real. Okay, I like that. Second often. Okay, so it might be like a mix of both. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Excellent. Klein praised. He folded the piece of paper and stuffed it into the inner pocket of his tuxedo. After exchanging a few more words and ascertaining the voices with Daxter was hearing were subsiding, Klein bade him farewell. He cautiously made his way to the shooting range reserved by the Nighthawks, then smiled while waiting inside. Captain, the informant gave me the telepathist formula to thank me for helping him control the side effects of the potion, but he cannot determine the authenticity of the potion. Klein handed the piece of paper to Dunn with a stern expression. Furthermore, he mentioned something else. Dunn read the formula as he listened to the concerns about Hood Eugene after he nodded. I'll immediately assign manpower to keep the mental asylum under surveillance. You haven't had professional training when it comes to these matters and don't participate in this. Go back to guard the Chance Gate. With that said, he looked at Klein deeply in his eyes and said, if we were to take this formula into account, you don't need to accumulate any more meritorious achievements. You can directly receive the clown potion after you pass the examination. Okay. It's like, you've done so many good deeds, like they're just gonna give you the potion formula. All right. Chapter 156 is called Melissa Who Takes the Long View. And I'm paying double for the clown's formula, and all this because I originally wanted to be rewarded double for the same piece of work I did. Forget it, I don't have the opportunity to mention that I already have the formula to the clown potion. Klein. Oh, he has the formula, not the ingredients. Klein took a deep breath and forced a smile, saying, hopefully I can pass the examination smoothly. Maybe the examination is saying, oh, make the potion yourself. Maybe that's what it was, right? And that's how they test to see like what they know or don't know. He was more than happy with Dunn's decision for him to continue to guard Chance Gate. Not only was he lacking the professional ability to monitor and investigate, but his hand-to-hand combat was far from satisfactory. In terms of shooting, he was considered decent compared to the ordinary police. However, his teammates were all beyonders that have had their physical attributes enhanced. Even if they weren't all marksman level, they were very close. As for hand-to-hand combat, Klein was merely a beginner. Even with the slumber charm, a repose charm, and a dream charm, he was still considering a support class beyonder. It would be easy for him to deal with ordinary people, but he would be in danger if he were to come across any beyonders. Bro, he is not going to be a support character for a long time. Okay, hold up. This is the only time I'm going to bring up solo leveling. When I originally read solo leveling, it's like, well, he's going to be a necromancer. What he's going to do? He's going to fight from the back. He had it all. He had close range combat, long range combat, necromancy abilities. This man had it all. I'm hoping Klein has it all. He has the close range combat. He has all these crazy ass charms to like help and like evade him in combat. Like he has guns, weapons, he has a cane, close, dude, he has it all. I'm already hyped to see what, like, maybe one day he's gonna be able to use like animals or pets to fight aside him. Oh my god, wait. Watch Beast Tamer be a sequence path. Oh, I'm not even gonna read chat. Romero already got mad because I said so lovely. Wait, no, I'm tying it back in. Watch Klein be a beast tamer, because when he went to the circus, one of the people was a beast tamer. So maybe if he becomes a beast tamer, he's gonna have all these crazy abilities, and then maybe he has his own beast fight with him. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking out loud. That's a good theory, bad theory. I don't know. We'll find out. As for hand-to-hand combat, Klein was merely a beginner. Even with a slumber charm, a repose charm, and a dream charm, he was still considered a support class beyonder. It would be easy for him to deal with ordinary people, but he would be in danger if he were to come across any beyonders who were adept at combat. Until I advance to sequence 8, becoming skilled in technique-based battles and master a handful of spells, I can only complete normal supernatural missions on my own, If I successfully steal the powers of a sealed artifact 30782 and make the flaring sun charms, that will be even better. It won't be impossible for me to win from a position of an underdog. Klein thought hopefully as he slowly walked back to the Blackthorn Security Company. The next morning when he ended his shift and let China's Gate to the Nighthawks, still hadn't obtained any useful information for monitoring Hood Eugene. For now, they had to place their hopes on their informant's internal investigation. When he returned home, Klein had his breakfast, quietly laid down in his bedroom to sleep until noon. He woke up naturally, washed up, and walked to the first floor, following the smell of cooking food. Melissa is prepared for lunch. Klein looked at Benson, who was reading the newspaper in the living room. Benson lowered the newspaper and said, "Yes, she has a guest visiting today. I wanted her to chat with her guests while I prepared lunch, but she doesn't trust my cooking and took the guest into the kitchen. How rude. Benson, you actually managed to quickly realize that Melissa detests her culinary skills." Klein held back his urge to laugh and walked towards the single-seat sofa as he asked, "Melissa's guest." "Yeah, but you should know her. Elizabeth, we met her at Selena's dinner banquet." Benson leaned backwards and continued to read his newspaper comfortably. It wasn't only at the dinner banquet she came to visit Peril. Klein turned to look at the kitchen with a stunned expression. Just then, Melissa walked out carrying some plates, and Elizabeth followed behind, also wearing the apron. "Klein, you're already up. I was just planning on waking you up." Melissa laid the plates on the dining table, and delightedly, as she said, "This is Elizabeth, you know her." "Hello, Klein." Elizabeth's adorable face flashed a splendid smile as she greeted him. Klein replied gently and politely. After they greeted, Melissa blinked and spoke seriously. "Elizabeth will follow you up to the Family Servant Assistants Association later. They hire a few maidservants at home, so she has experience in that. Her opinions might be helpful. Actually, we've already drawn up requirements for picking a maidservant. Listen to this and see if there's anything that needs to be added." Melissa whipped her hands on her apron and took out a piece of paper from her pocket on her home clothes. She opened it up and read out loud. 1, healthy. 2, hardworking and responsible. 3, good at cooking. 4, quiet, not rowdy. 5, simple family background. Looks ordinary. She read the requirements one by one while Klein and Benson gawked with a vacant look. They never expected that hiring a maidservant would be so troublesome. "Melissa, weren't you against the idea of hiring..." Oh, that's so funny. Melissa wants an ordinary maidservant so they don't fall in love with her. That has to be it. "Melissa, weren't you against the idea of hiring a maidservant?" Klein subconsciously asked with his sister's thought. Melissa pursed her lips and nodded solemnly. "Yes, I was against it, but my opposition was in vain." Oh, I feel like my music's a little loud. I'm gonna turn it down just a bit. "Yes, I was against it, but my opposition was in vain. I thought we should at least get things done properly. To be able to get it done well, we must be well prepared, huh? Do you have anything that you'd like to add?" She's just penny picking. No, Klein and Benson shook their heads in unison, causing Elizabeth to laugh. After lunch, the 4 of them took the public carriage to Tingen Family Servant Assistance Association on Champagne Street. It was similar to the domestic help firms that Klein knew up front of his previous line, but it was also a little like a charity. They recorded the personal information and job requirements of a different maidservants so that the clients could make their selection more easily while maximizing the maidservants' chances of employment. Part of the organization's funding came from charity organizations. Some came from a percentage of the payment provided by employers. Upon entering the association, Klein and company were greeted warmly. A young lady in a pile of yellow ruffled dress led to some sofas. She smiled and asked, "How may I help you?" "Do you have any requirement?" Wait, no. Benson, who was pushed forward by his brother and sister, said, "We need to hire a maidservant." "Do you have any requirements?" the young lady asked like clockwork. Benson recalled her siblings' lack of faith in culinary as she said sincerely, "Good at cooking, good at cooking." The young lady caressed her eyebrows and said, "To be frank, there are no excellent cooks among the maidservants. Why not hire a chef instead? If you need a female chef, we have a quite number of them in the association." "There is no one who is good at cooking among the maidservants." Melissa couldn't help but cut it as her initial plan was set back. The young lady nodded and answered affirmatively. "The maidservants are either the daughters of lower-class laborers or girls from the villages. They have few opportunities to learn culinary skills. Even after the simple training provided by the association, the most we can guarantee is that their food won't make people sick." Melissa fell silent, finally realizing what it meant to have situations outpace her plans. "This is regrettable," Benson thought, reorganizing his words. He said, "Maybe we can amend our requirements to a maidservant who is willing to and is capable of learning to cook." "Not bad." Benson is quick-witted. "There's no need for me to interject." Klein sat by the side, holding his cane and hat comfortably. "No problem. During cooking training, we took notes of girls who had outstanding performance." The young lady replied with a professional smile. "Any other requirements?" Yes, Benson felt the burn of Melissa's gaze. He swallowed his saliva and took out a piece of paper from his pocket. He then read the items one by one. The young lady listened quietly and only responded after quite a while. I'll first check through the records and recommend some maidservants that fit the criteria. You don't have to decide immediately. You can pick 2 or 4 of them. Then we'll bring them each over to cook for you once. You can decide who to employ then. Of course, you will have to pay the association some extra fees, and you will also have to prepare your own ingredients. All right. Benson folded the paper and nodded politely. The young lady stood up and walked towards the office, but she turned around after taking 2 steps. Shimala said, "Can you pass me that paper? I'm worried I will forget some of your requirements." He's like, yeah, like, shit, man, you guys are asking too much, dude. No problem. Benson held back his urge to laugh when he answered. After a while, the young lady in the pale yellow dress came out with a stack of documents and passed them to Benson. The information had each of the maidservants' real name, birthday, family situations, facial descriptions, health status, past experience, related traits, expected salary, and other information. Seizing the opportunity when Benson and Melissa were reading the information, Elizabeth got closer to Klein and asked softly, "Don't you have any requirements?" "Yes, but the information isn't specific enough," Klein answered perfectionly. Elizabeth got even more interested. "How would you choose?" Klein smiled and pointed at the hidden pendulum in his left sleeve. "I would divine the best person to become our maidservant by writing down a corresponding statement about each candidate and eliminating them one after another." She's like, "Man, get out of here with that." Elizabeth was stunned, nodding. Oh, wait, never mind. She was stunned. Elizabeth was stunned, nodding vacantly after nearly 20 seconds. "The simplest and most effective way. I totally forgot that you're..." He's like, ah, okay. She didn't finish her sentence since Melissa, who was sharp senses, noticed that she was whispering and had looked over. She looked at her best friend and her brother. Then she showed an expression of deep thought. "Hey sis, don't misunderstand. We are just talking normally." Klein coughed and picked up some of the information and casually read through them. Very soon they picked 3 candidates. They were asked for the solely of each pence to 5 solely, 2 pence per week. That's not bad. Benson didn't haggle over the maidservants, pay them, instead discussed the percentages that he needed to pay the association. After some friendly haggling, he successfully negotiated the price from the maidservants' 2 weeks of pay to 1 week pay instead. However, he had to pay a transportation fee of 1 solely for them to bring the maidservants over to try cooking. After that, Elizabeth bade the trio farewell and left while the siblings took a public carriage back to Daffodil Street. On the way back, Klein was getting uncomfortable under Melissa's scrutinizing gaze. When he got home, he went to the 2nd floor directly. Melissa called him in a serious tone after thorough consideration. She said, "If you want to get engaged with Elizabeth, you have to work harder." What? "If you want to get engaged with Elizabeth, you have to work harder. Her father is an important businessman and her mother's a daughter of a baron." Wait, engaged? When did this happen? Klein looked at his sister in confusion. How far-reaching is her concern? Dude, Melissa's super sus. She's like, wait, hold. And he's like, hold on a second. Hold on a second, girl. All right, chapter 157 is called Item of His Dreams. Okay? Maybe Dunn Smith is involved in this. No, we are not. Klein didn't have the chance to retort before Benson interrupted with a smile. Although Elizabeth is indeed a little young and her family is much more outstanding than ours, I find the 2 of you quite suitable for each other. But you might have to wait a few more years. She is still studying at a public school and wants to enter university. Marriage should be something to consider only 6 to 7 years later. Of course, you can engage sooner than that. Can you guys not think that far ahead? He's like, can you guys please stop? Klein took in a deep breath. I do not fancy Elizabeth, or well, more accurately, I do not fancy a girl who is younger than me by too much. I prefer girls who are more mature. That's what I've been saying. He's going to either hook up with Roseanne or Madame Dally. It's going to be one of those 2. It has to be one of those 2. As of right now, that's who I'm thinking of. Truly, I can accept anyone within a reasonable age gap, just not now, he added inwardly in exasperation. You like girls who are more mature? Melissa knitted her brows. Oh, she's mad. Then you should quickly settle the issue regarding your marriage. Ah, Klein couldn't understand his sister's leap in logic. He asked in confusion why. Melissa explained seriously. You will be about 25 when you finish saving up for your marriage. What the fuck? When do we start talking about marriage? What? Melissa ex Leonard? Oh, dude, Klein is gonna beat up Leonard if that happens, dude. Girls that are more mature than you are willing to either be married or engaged when you reach that age. Do you want to chase after a what? After a widow? What the? Klein thought to himself in Mandarin as he wore it. He's like, what the fuck are you on about, dude? Benson smiled and refuted his sister. Melissa, you don't understand that in this day and age, it is rare to see women in their 30s who isn't married or engaged with the middle class. They are mostly followers of the goddess and all have the abilities to provide for themselves. They would rather be single than stuck in marriage than they are not satisfied with. Yes, that's what I read them as Family Magazine. Is that so? Melissa was 16 years old girl after all. She didn't have the great understanding in considering matters like this. Upon seeing his siblings getting roused up from this conversation, Klein coughed and said, "What I meant by mature is that their mental state, they didn't need to be older than me. Furthermore, the person that should be worried about their marriage is Benson. I'm sorry, brother. I had no choice." He apologized in his heart. Melissa froze for a moment and nodded heavily. That's right. Oh, dude, why are we forgetting about Benson? He's such a cool-ass older bro. Don't sleep on this guy. He's cool, dude. Benson was just about to elaborate on the material problems of the middle class when he suddenly shivered. He looked at his sister who was staring at him and said, "I am not at the cusp of turning a point in my life. I have to devote all my attention to studying. I will only be confident of chasing after my desired girl when I have found a job." I like how boss fight music started playing when he said this. "I have found a job that I'm satisfied with and have a reasonable amount of savings. Only then will I be able to provide her with a good life." I read a little bit ahead. Okay. Only then will I be able to provide her with a good life. Klein and Melissa froze, then asked in unison, "You have a girl that you fancy?" Benson, who had merely given a perfunctory reply, was shocked. He shook his head in a hurry. "No, I was merely giving an example." Aw, that's sweet. In a dark, gloomy house of Backlund, Hilstonborough, a middle-aged man with grayish hair sat silently on a rock chair in front of a unlit fireplace with a dark-colored pipe in his hand. He looked at the guest on the sofa. He was the master of this building, Isengard Stanton. Isengard? That has to be a Lord of the Rings reference, right? Okay, let me reread from here. In a dark, gloomy house of Backlund, Hilstonborough, a middle-aged man with grayish hair sat silently on a rocking chair in front of a... I hear rocking chairs and I think of the old lady from Ray Bieber, his mom. That's just creepy, man. I still think about that. I get goosebumps, man. Sending her on Discord? Okay, we'll look at it right now. I got you. I'll look at it right now. He looked at the guest on the sofa. He was the master of the building, Isengard Stanton, a private detective with notable fame, but he didn't set up an office, merely hiring assistants to assist him. Isengard, who was dressed in a white shirt and black vest, brought the pipe to his lips and inhaled in an intoxicated manner before slowly exhaling. The fee for a 30-minute consultation is £1. If I were you, I would definitely not waste a second. That's kind of expensive, £1. The two ladies on the sofa across from him were Forrest Wall and Zhao Derecha. Oh wait, we switched point of views. They had found materials relating to Rear Admiral Hurricane Quillingus and wanted to ask the detectives to consolidate the habits and actions of their ages. Of course, they had removed Quillingus' name and changed the description regarding the supernatural incidences. I thought they literally ran into them. Okay. Zhao Derecha handed over the folder containing the documents of Isengard's assistant, a brown-haired young man wearing gold-framed spectacles. "Mr. Detective, I hope that you find habits in the target's actions using material we have provided." Even though she wasn't tall, Zhao Derecha had an air of authority when she sat straight and spoke with a deep voice. Isengard stared at her and received the documents from his assistant. He opened the folder and took out his material within. He sat down his pipe and focused on reading the pages after page without missing a single one. 10 minutes later, the gentleman slowly tapped one hand. The target has an obsession with wind. He won't stay for long in a populated area, Backlund, the capital of dust. It's called the capital of dust. Okay. In other words, he could be staying at the Empress Borough, West Borough, Hilston Borough, Sherwood Borough, or the suburbs of the North Borough. The target is a psychotic serial killer with the need to kill someone every other day. The most logical thing he could do is target the vagrants that has nowhere to go. Even the police have no records of the exact number of vagrants in Buckland. The target would have been living in an area too near or too far from North Borough or Buckland Bridge, which have the highest concentration of vagrants. It would be the act of someone unsophisticated to search for victims that are too close to him. That isn't coincident with your... Wait, that isn't consistent with your descriptions. If the target has to spend a large amount of time before he can find someone to murder, then he might lose control of his desires and commit crimes that would easily expose himself. The target is an experienced sailor and has exceptional mobility in the water. A reasonable deduction would be that he wouldn't be living somewhere too far away from the water. If anything unexpected happens, That would be his best means of escape. In summary, we can outline the possible radius of activity for the target. He should be living somewhere close to Buckland Bridge area, perhaps somewhere close to both banks in the Tussock River, the West Borough or the Cherrywood Borough. I can only deduce that this from the materials that you have given me. Even though they didn't understand all of this, his deductions seemed to make sense. Zhao and Forrest looked at each other and nodded. They took back their materials and stood up to leave. Seeing his assistant send off the two ladies, Isengard took out his bronze item from his vest pocket. It was an open paperback book. In the middle of the book was a vertical eye. Isengard rocked his vertical eye. The creator? It was an open paperback book. In the middle of the book was a vertical eye. Isengard rocked his chair, rubbing the item while softly muttering to himself, Quillingus has infiltrated Buckland. Oh, he knows him. In a particular basement of Pritz Harbor, the hangman Alger sat. So there's Pritz Harbor, Buckland, Tingen City, and the City of Silver. Those are the 4 current locations. Okay. The man Alger sat in a chair looking coldly at a struggling man. This man was dressed like a sailor. His head was enveloped by a film of pale blue water and his face was purple from holding his breath. He was scratching at the film on his face with both hands, but all he could do was flick droplets of liquid. Finally, he could no longer hold his breath and gave a signal of submission. Alger smiled, then nonchalantly clapped his hands. The thin film of water dispersed, turning into droplets that fell to the ground. The sailor took in a deep breath and coughed violently. He coughed so hard that it tugged at his heart and lungs. After waiting for the man to recover, Alger leaned back. He emulated the peaceful and calm tone of the fool. Told me the reason why Quillingus went to Buckland. He's dared to complete a commission, but I'm not sure about the details. The pirate had completely lost the will to resist. He answered honestly, all I know is that he might receive something that he wants. Quillingus once boasted in front of us. He said that if the mission was a success, he would be able to obtain something that he dreamed of getting for a long time. The 4 pirate kings, the 4 pirate kings would then become the 5 pirate kings. An object. I understood that One Piece reference. I understood that. I understood that reference. An object has been I understood the reference. The 5th emperor. Come on, man. That was a little bit on the nose. An object he's been dreaming of obtaining. Alger knitted his brows and slipped into deep thought. Klein didn't rest on Monday morning. Oh shit! It's a meeting. Klein didn't rest on Monday morning. He followed his plan and continued his investigation of the buildings with red chimneys in Tingen. Unfortunately, he didn't come across his target. He returned home near noon. He heated up the leftovers from yesterday's dinner and paired them with a bread before taking hours of nap. At about 20 minutes to 3 in the afternoon, just say 2:40. At about 20 minutes to 3, just say 2:40. At about 20 minutes to 3, that confused me for a sec. To 3 in the afternoon, Klein put his book down and sealed his room with a wall of spirituality, once again entering the mysterious world above the gray fog. He sat at the seat of honor in the ancient bronze table, extended his hand towards the crimson star representing the sun, while ignoring the frequency of his heartbeats. In the City of Silver, Derek Berg was sweating on the practice grounds. His vision suddenly blurred as a heavy fog entered his view. He saw the fool sitting up high above, deep within the fog. He froze and stopped whatever he was doing and bowed his head. When the illusion vanished, he continued his heartbeat silently and carried his silver sword to the rest area quickly. 1,000 heartbeats later. 1,000 heartbeats later, he locked himself in the bathroom. After about 10 breaths, he saw that the red light swelled over him and swallowed him in an instant. How much is 1,000 heartbeats in minutes? Above the gray fog, Klein leaned back into his chair, tapped in his left molar twice to steadily activate his spirit vision. He saw that the mottled color deep within the sun's ether body had turned pure, akin to the light of dawn. Ah, he did it. Congratulations, Mr. Bard. Wait, so his pathway is called Bard? It's not Sun. Wait, I was confused. I thought he was a martyr or marauder. Congratulations, Mr. Bard. At the same time, he saw the stars behind the sun chair shift quickly, turning into the symbol of the sun. It transformed without my will, as if it was a reflection of the sun. Also, other than the palace table and chairs, the items that I conjure cannot be preserved once I leave this world. They are very special. They sure are many secrets to this world above the gray fog. Klein took in everything in front of him as he contemplated. Derek lowered his head and replied humbly, "This is all due to your assistance. This is but the beginning. This is but the beginning." He wasn't surprised that the fool knew that he had consumed the potion. Klein took out his silver pocket watch and looked at them. He chuckled and said, "Then let us start the gathering. Remember the frequency, or should I say gap between the gatherings, should be about the same in the future." As he was speaking, he established a connection with the crimson stars representing justice and a hangman before pulling them into the majestic palace. Audrey looked at the scene before her and immediately greeted him. "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. I have a page." Ooh! Oh, it was the other page she was going to memorize. It wasn't the new one. It was the old one, but he had to memorize it. "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. I have a page of the diary, Emperor Rizal, with me." "Good afternoon, Mr. Sun. Have you gotten the formula telepathist?" He's like, "As a matter of fact, I got it." He's like, "Yeah, I got it right here. I got it right here for you guys." Yes. Okay. Chapter 158 is called Preparedness, Averts. Averts what? Peril? Okay. That sounds scary. "How inevitable is it for me to... Wait, oh my god, I'm already off. How inevitable is it for Miss Justice to always maintain a cheerful mood? I wish I could be like that." Listening to her lively greetings, Klein couldn't help but sigh wistfully. He then recalled a time when she had taken out 1,000 pounds so easily, as he realized that it would be very difficult if he wanted to maintain this cheerful emotion like Miss Justice. The son, Derek Burke, was a young man that cared a lot about his reputation. He merely replied, "I have obtained a telepathist formula." Oh, so now he can check if it's real or not and just compare with Derek. For the past week, he had been settling the inheritance that his parents had left him. Besides the property, furniture, and a few sentimental items, the rest of the value items were brought to the black market in the City of Silver in exchange for the telepathist formula. He gave it all away? And the barred potion ingredients, his meals were now rationed. Man, I feel so bad for Derek. What? However, he believed that the situation wouldn't be for long. When he passed the combat examination, he would then join the team that cleansed the things of the dark and the He would then join the team that cleansed the things of the dark in the outskirts of the city and be paid a decent... What the fuck do they fight out there? "When I become stronger, I'll apply to become a member of the elite squad to explore the depths of the dark and find a way to remove the curse." Derek, dude, this could be like its own series in and of itself. Derek thought with hope as he looked towards the fool who was engulfed in the fog. Dude, it's for him, it's gonna be like an Eren Yeager moment when he realized there was like an island. He's like, "Holy shit, there's more out there besides the black fog." He noticed that the last time after Miss Justice made a request to Mr. Fool, she was able to produce a page of the unknown Roselle diary out of thin air. Although Derek didn't quite understand what had happened, he felt that it'd be better if he just watched Mr. Fool. First, recall the formula in your head, then grab the pen by your side and install it with a strong desire to express your thoughts. Klein casually leaned back in his high chair. As the sun was from the City of Silver, which might be the forsaken lands of gods, the pen that insisted before him wasn't a fountain pen, but a quill pen. Okay. Of course, there still wasn't any ink. Derek didn't dare to doubt what the fool had said, so he merely grabbed the quill and suddenly appeared by his hand. He followed the fool's instructions as expected. He saw the telepathist potion formula appear on the brown goatskin parchment before him within seconds. After looking through it twice... I'm recording, right? Okay. Derek silently pushed the promised items towards Miss Justice. Audrey was overjoyed and eager, but she took the parchment gracefully. She glanced at the page, and the words that Klein had translated came into sight. Main ingredients: phantom nether drakes, complete pituitary gland, 10 milliliters of half spectre rabbit. Oh, so it wasn't a dragon's tooth. It was that. Supplementary ingredients. Main ingredients that I've never heard of. I don't know enough. Audrey, who had been trying to learn more about the different types and names of beyond ingredients from forge and gel, seemed to fret and thought. During such movements, she would completely forget how a spectator should behave. Because she's so excited. Suddenly, Audrey heard a light rapping sound. She quickly looked towards the seat of honor at the long bronze table subconsciously. She was surprised to see Mr. Fool rapping at the edge of the table with his right index finger while he gestured to her with a nod. What's going on? Audrey was confused as her eyes wore a vacant look. Just when she was about to ask, the corner of her eye suddenly saw some changes of the telepathist formula. There were remarks next to some of the main ingredients. Main ingredients: phantom nether drakes. Oh, it's like a drake dragon, right? Complete pituitary gland, also known as rainbow salamander. 10 milliliters of half spectre rabbit, also known as Farsman rabbit. Supplementary ingredients. I know all of these. Ah, he was helping her. I know all of these. Audrey was stunned at first. Then there was an intense surge of delight from the bottom of her heart. Thank you, Mr. Hool. Mr. Hool. Thank you, Mr. Fool. You really are very knowledgeable. She looked towards the seat of honor. She thanked and sincerely complimented him. The hangman Ollier didn't know what had happened, but he felt extreme contempt towards what justice had said. How could you describe a godlike figure with the word knowledgeable? His existence alone is equivalent to knowledge itself to a certain extent. Shut up. Oh my god. Klein accepted Miss Justice's compliments without any misgivings, because this wasn't something he could have done just because he had chanced upon the psychology alchemist telepathist formula. After he pulled the sun into the Terror Club, he had been taking precautions against the sun's problems by taking into consideration the sun's special circumstances of being from the city of Silver. He had been constantly studying an ancient terminology. Therefore, even if Daxter Guderian hadn't managed to get the formula in time, he could have made the notions easily. Through power divinations and comparison, he made certain that both telepathist formulas were accurate. This is why we say, preparedness averts peril, Klein thought smugly. Audrey looked at the telepathist formula a few times and then reined in her gaze inwardly. She then personally expressed Roselle's diaries onto the page. You deserve this. She put down her pen and looked towards the fog engulfed fool. In addition to this, I'll give you the adorer another I'll give your adorer another 300. It's 300 pounds, okay? It's him. It's 300 pounds, okay? She sounded a little guilty because 3 pages of Roselle's diary only cost her 20 pounds, while Sheriff formula at sequence 8 requires 450 pounds. In other words, from the perspective of simple math, she had to pay another 430 pounds on top of the 3 pages of the diary. However, Audrey felt that it was thanks to her luck that the seller didn't know the value of Roselle's diary. It allowed her to buy it at a low price. Emperor Roselle's diary cost at least 50 pounds per page. Audrey held her fist and encouraged herself. 300 pounds? Until today, I've only seen that much money at Sir Deweyville's place. Klein signed and pretended not to be interested in the money as he nodded and said, a reasonable deal. This is my adorer's information. He avoided speaking of the term Backlund Bank, an anonymous account, verbally through the fool's mouth as they damaged his image. He made them appear on the parchment before her. Klein had taken time to visit Buckland's Bank, Tingen branch last Wednesday while investigating the houses with a red chimney. Wait, so Klein has physically been to the city where Audrey lives. It's not casually just giving out 30k. So, right? Wait, so Klein X money, I can ship that. I see that. I thought Buckland was like some far away place within the city that he couldn't reach. So he's physically been to where Audrey lives, like in that same location. So it's like the characters aren't that far apart from themselves, right? This is my adorer's information. He avoided speaking of the term Buckland Bank, an anonymous account, verbally through the fool's mouth. As they damaged his image, he made them appear on the parchment before her. Nah, it's a branch in Tingen. Oh. Klein had taken time to... Yeah, it's like, it's within there, right? Okay. Buckland Bank branch. Oh, the bank branch. You're right. Klein had... Ah, okay. Klein had taken time to... It's like, it's the bank's branch within Tingen. Okay. That's why he was talking about like wire transfers, right? Or something like that. Klein had taken time to visit Buckland's Bank, Tingen branch last Wednesday. Oh, it literally says right here. Backlund's Bank's Tingen branch. Last Wednesday, while investigating the houses with red chimneys, he had disguised himself and opened an anonymous bank account. The account only required one to memorize his account number and the corresponding password in order to withdraw cash from any Backlund Bank branch. If one found that it wasn't secure enough, he could also request to add in a signature and thumbprint verification, but that would be more troublesome. In order to keep his identity secret, Klein left it with a password. The password is written in ancient Hermes. The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the great fog, the king of the yellow and black who wields good luck. As ancient Hermes itself can be used for rituals and prayers, anyone who dares to copy the password will be reciting by name. Oh man, this is going to come back to bite him. People are going to figure out who he is because of the whole bank thing. This shit just reminds me of Death Note because he literally went back when he shouldn't have gone. People found out who he was. That's what's going to happen right here. Then I'll immediately receive a signal and can simply find out who's the one trying to steal my wealth from the world above the great fog. Klein was very satisfied for the idea that he came up with. The only downfall was that it would slightly expose the existence of the fool, but the risk was within an acceptable range. Audrey pushed the diary of the page to Mr. Fool as she took the parchment within the information of the fool's door. Recorded on it was the Buckland Bank and a branch number that formed the anonymous bank account. I wonder if Mr. Fool's adorer is a male or female, and which sequence he or she is. He must be very powerful, at least not weaker than Rear Admiral Hurricane Quillingus. Shut up. Not yet. Smart Clan automatic alarm password. Yeah, like it's like only people within this would know, right? And if somebody says that that's not part of it, then there's a traitor. Right? He must be very powerful, at least not weaker than Rear Admiral Hurricane Quillingus. Audrey couldn't stop her thoughts from wandering, but she quickly focused and memorized the anonymous account. It doesn't have to be troublesome. Just then she heard the fool's low yet gentle voice. When you get home, recite my name and you'll be able to write down the information directly. This would be just like when I drew the red chimney scene through divination. An account number is very important. You can't memorize it incorrectly. Klein added in his heart. That works too. From Mr. Fool's words, he appeared very confident. He lives up to his status of a godlike figure. I mean, he can even do this. Audrey was stunned at first before coming to realization that everything seemed to make logical sense. But why did I have to memorize the formula earlier? Audrey was suddenly confused again. At that moment, Client pressed down on the page of Roselle's diary, but he wasn't in a hurry to read it. He looked at the side of the sun and calmly asked, "What compensation would you like?" Derek thought and seriously and said, "As of now, I don't have anything that I desperately need. I should digest the Bard potion very soon. I shall wait until then to request my compensation. Yes, perhaps to prepare for the corresponding sequencing formula or the necessary ingredients. Sequence 8 is light supplicant." No, I remember this. Oh, if someone says it, then Klein can summon them to the Grey Fog. Yeah, because it's like it's the ritual. Oh, thank you, German Sparrow. That makes more sense. I thought it was just like a code name, but no, he can summon them, right? Okay, so sequence 8 light supplicant, which I have, but the ingredients, even if I had them, I would have no idea how to give them to you. Wait, he used the word digest indeed. The City of Silver knows of the acting method. Oh! You're right. The highest sequence there is only sequence 4. So are they limited by ingredients? Klein nodded in deep thought, agreeing to the deal. Audrey also sharply noticed the word digest. She weighed her words and asked, "Mr. Sun, are you aware of the acting method?" Derek looked at Miss Justice in confusion and answered straightforwardly, "It's nothing strange. The general education classes in the City of Silver teaches the acting method." Holy shit. Oh my god, I thought my thing was going to fall back. They really are hiding it. The acting method is taught in general This is like a gen ed course thing. Yeah, of course, you just got to act. The acting method is taught in general education classes. Audrey stole a glance at the hangman and realized that he was looking back at her. The two of them suddenly fell silent. The origin of the sun is indeed mysterious. I wonder where Mr. Fool pulled him into the Terror Club from. The more I think about it, the more I reverie him. Audrey settled down and looked at the fool, who didn't look visibly surprised in any way. Then Olger probed, "Mr. Sun, do you talk about any key things to look out for with respect to the acting method?" Yes. Derek nodded without hesitation. It's clearly stated in our general education classes that the one and only key point for the acting method is to remember that you're only acting. As expected, we're using an ingenious method to go around obstacles and completely break down the remnant spirits in the potion without submitting to it. The Sun, you're such a simple boy. You just shared important information by accident. Klein smiled and cast his eyes on the diary before him. He's like, "Oh, Derek. Oh, Derek, you give away too much info. You gotta be careful, man." All right, chapter 159 is called Bestowment and what? And Sacrifice. Messy Chinese sentences were scribbled on the yellowish-brown goat skin. 2nd of August. This goes deeper than I imagine. History sure is something that can be manipulated easily. It's like the winners write the story, right? 5th of August. I witnessed the ability of a high sequence beyonder today. It was scary indeed. There's a qualitative change that has happened to them in a particular aspect. It was as though they've been transformed into a deity. It's no wonder that we describe them as demigods, though I think calling them legendary beings is more fitting. 6th of August, there's something strange going on. Why would the 7 major churches adopt such a strange attitude towards the potions? At the low to mid sequences, they not only provide the main ingredients to those who manage to advance, but they're also generous enough to share the formulas and demonstrate the process needed to create the potion. They would also explain in detail if a ritual is needed to create medicine, yet finished potions are the only things they provide to those who are advancing to higher sequences. This isn't logical. Shouldn't they keep the formula a secret for the lower sequence potions and give the candidate the completed potion, since it's relatively easy to gather the necessary ingredients and create the potion? Not anymore. It's hard to get them now. As for the higher sequence potions, shouldn't they share the formula and make the promising members search for the ingredients due to the difficulty of obtaining the main ingredients? There must be some hidden secret to this. 9th of August. The events of the past 2 days have made me feel uncomfortable. I started the Industrial Revolution with my own hands and personally ushered in the age of steam and machinery. But this will create the conditions necessary for the evil god. But this will create the conditions necessary for the evil god to descend to the world. That's why all the oil is gone. Okay, hold up. Theory crafting. This happened like was it 1,000 years ago? Hundreds of years ago? Right? I got it. He purposely started like the Industrial Revolution because, and then all the oil was sucked up by the evil god, and the evil god. No, it's not AZIK. AZIK was a baron? Unless he was before? No. The baron was like 1,000, or the first dude was 1,400 years ago. It doesn't tie in. No, AZIK, no. Wait, I don't know if I should reach out. How long ago did the steam and machinery thing? There wasn't any oil even in Roselle's era. Oh yeah, he said like, where did it all go? You're right. I thought it was all used during his era. No, he started it, but then he realized there's no oil. Oh, never mind. So I'll shut up now. Okay, no. So he wasn't trying to summon AZIK because AZIK was he predates even 200 years. Okay, so it was 200 years before. Got it. What does he mean? The conditions necessary for the evil god to descend upon this world. Klein knitted his brows, his index fingers tapped on the edge of the ancient table. Did Mr. Fool encounter a difficult problem? Anything that can trouble him must be something of another level. Audrey looked at the leader, obscured by the thick fog, and interpreted his state through his body language. Klein was indeed pondering over the problem related to the upper echelon, but he didn't arrive at an answer. He considered the possibility of using divination to gain some sort of revelation. Yes, it would be impossible to divine something of use with such simple sentences. I'm not a prophet. What if I divine with the statement, the conditions necessary for the evil god to descend upon the world? It feels too risky. The evil god might not be as horrifying as the eternal blazing sun. It might be even worse. But its abilities might be much more mysterious. One would say one might call the evil god the Lord of Mystery, if he's so mysterious, right? No? Maybe? Holy shit! It's called Lord of Mysteries. That means there has to be a lord behind everything. Oh, I just realized that. Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Okay, as of right now, I think the evil god is like the Lord of Mysteries. The evil god might not be as horrifying as the eternal blazing sun, but his abilities might be much more mysterious. It might be able to trace the divinations back to me. There's also no way to divine how large of a risk I'll be taking if I were to divine this statement. After all, just divining if something possesses any danger is dangerous once it has deities involved. I'll keep this question in mind and put more effort into observation. The arrangement of the churches regarding the potions is indeed mysterious. I wonder what kind of secrets they're hiding. Perhaps I'll receive some hints about that once spirit medium, no spirit guide, Dali, is made archbishop or a high-ranked decon and enters the core of the churches. Roselle's description does make me look forward to the power of the high sequence beyonders. Many thoughts flashed through his mind before Klein stopped tapping on the edge of the ancient table and looked at Justice. The hangman and the sun. You can't start your discussion freely now. Oh, you can start freely now. Alger immediately said, Mr. Full, Miss Justice, I received a new piece of information. Rear Admiral Hurricane Quillingus infiltrated back Lunt to complete a difficult mission. He might stay for an extended period of time and create an appalling tragedy. Also, I know that this incident involves a very important item and an item that would allow Quillingus to quickly become a high sequence beyonder. Does he not fear losing control of himself? He's going to lose control. Just like the dude at the asylum. What's his name? No, not Daxter Grudian. It's the other guy. Damon something? Audrey asks, wait. Quickly become a high sequence beyonder. Does he not fear losing control of himself? Audrey asks, adopting the posture of a spectator. Quillingus was only a sequence when blessed, so there was still a sequence between him and sequence 4. Alger had expected this question. He answered honestly. That's why the object is important to him. Of course, those are simply my deductions. The information received goes like this. Quillingus believes that once he completes the mission and obtains the object, he will be equal of Nas, the king of the 5 seas. Oh, it's not 5. Okay. Nast is the king of the 5 seas. The 4 pirate kings would then become the 5 pirate kings. Okay, so my notes did line up. 5 pirate kings. And the 7 pirate admirals will be reduced to 6. So he was one of the 7 pirate admirals, and he's going to try and join the ranks of the 4 pirate kings. Man, it's like we have like this whole One Piece subplot in Lord of Mysteries. The average person might not be aware of this, but as Beyonders, we should know that pirate kings are either high sequence Beyonders or able to reach the combat strength of a high sequence Beyonder with the use of Beyonder boats and mysterious items. So they use like items to assist them, right? For Quillingus to be acknowledged as their equal, he must reach standards that are close to that. That's my deduction. All I know is that the King of the 5 Seas Nast is a sequence 4 Beyonder, but I'm not sure the name of his potion. Klein listened on silently, not giving his opinion. The son, Derek Berg, didn't understand anything the hangman said. He didn't know who was who, but he still listened attentively. He felt a new door. He presented itself in his world. Pirates. The place they live in has seas that are mentioned in books. The place they live in has seas that are mentioned in books. He's never seen the sea. Then the environment these people live in is very different from the City of Silver. They don't seem to be very worried about the curse of the attacks of the things of the dark. It definitely makes me very curious, but Mr. Full once instructed me not to ask about the secrets of others. It's a very rude gesture. Derek thought in his heart, once again observing the hangman injustice. Oh, he's not asking. Oh, snap. Your deduction is very reasonable. Of course, that could also be a mysterious item that could hold its own against a high sequence Beyonder. Justice replied with a smile. The hangman looked at the fog in shrouded fool, pondering over his words before he looked at Justice and empathized. There are 2 key points in what I said just now. The first being the fact that Quillingus will stay in Back Lund for some time. The second is that incident involves a very important and very mysterious object. So, Mr. Fool, are you not tempted? Tempted of what? There is an ample time for you to send your door to Backland. Olger added in his heart, but didn't dare say it out loud. All he could do was beat about the bush. Mr. Olger, you don't need to emphasize this repeatedly. I know that I'm gonna lower the volume down a bit. I know that what you are getting at. My abilities do not allow me to interfere in these matters. Furthermore, I can't leave taking without permission. Klein leaned back and thought in frustration. Ignoring the door, I can actually find 2 relatively strong Beyonders to help. He's gonna send Dally? One is Dally, who is advanced sequence 6, but I cannot tell her everything. The most I can do is mention that I've gotten some information that Rear Admiral Hurricane Quillingus has infiltrated Back Lund and is living at a particular street and what he plans to do. That way, Dally might directly enlist the help of the Nighthawks, making the situation very complicated and troublesome. If you guys cannot find anybody to help you when the time comes, then I can try that to prevent a tragedy. The second person is Mr. AZIK. How's he going to send him? I cannot expose my identity as the Fool to him. I don't have a proper reason to get him to interfere with this incident. Yeah, we probably shouldn't tell him. Many thoughts flashed through his mind as Klein replied slowly. I'm aware. Seeing how the Fool continued to not place much importance in the matter regarding Quillingus, he sighed and held back his disappointment. He started asking about the investigation about misjustice conducted last week. In conclusion, we have more or less targeted the general area Quillingus will be at, and will soon start the next phase of the investigations. Audrey first gave a simple summary. Oh, my back. Then, with the attitude that she was doing something important, said, we need more information, preferably the hobbies and habits of Quillingus. Olga recalled he loves fish, especially fish from the sea. He would slice it and eat it raw. Ew. He also likes hard liquor and despises champagne, red wine, and the likes. He will often look for a woman to relieve his needs whenever he heads to the shore, and with his strong body, one woman will not be enough to satisfy him. He used to using cold weapons and avoid hot. He uses cold weapons? He's used to using cold weapons and avoid hot weapons. He cannot be away from the water for long periods of time. What I mean is that he needs to swim or dive once every couple of days. Audrey committed these facts to memory, creating an ample character of Quillingus in her mind. Let's hope that an investigation will be successful. It's a pleasure working with you. She smiled. No, but like that he like just cuts the head off and just like eats it like that. I've had sushi before. No, it's good. I know like raw fish is sushi, but like the fact he's gonna like and doesn't like clean it, I don't know. My man's gonna catch something, dude. My pleasure. All Olger could do was force himself to believe in Miss Justice, who had considered powerful and power and backlunt. Throughout the interaction, Klein seemed to be listening intentionally, but in reality, his thoughts had been diverted to what other question? That was the question of how to deliver the ingredients to Sun if he did manage to obtain them. Now that he had a plausible understanding of the field of mysticism, Klein instinctively followed the line of thought using ritualistic magic. The reliance was natural given the success he had when using ritualistic magic. When I was previously flipping through the confidential information of the Nighthawks, I came across the records of the goddess bestowing holy items to her followers. Oh. There were also records of items descending in the rituals involving evil gods or devils. Does this mean that I can bestow someone something when responding to their prayers and transfer materials that way? In a previous attempts, I can only reply with thoughts containing pictures and voices, but that doesn't mean that I'll always stay that. There could be some new changes. Oh, so when he advances the sequence, he gets stronger. There's also something important to consider. Can I bring material from the real world into the world above the gray fog? And alright, there's often a step for sacrifices and rituals involving evil gods and devils. Can I consider sacrificing something to myself? In that way, perhaps I can bring some material from the real world into the world above the gray fog. If this attempt is successful, I can get items directly from Justice, the Sun, and the Hangman, and then bestow them to myself. Yes, sacrifice is considered a more advanced ritual, so I won't be able to learn of it for now. The most important thing to do now is to improve my abilities. Klein reined in thoughts and once again listened to the conversation of the other members. He listened as their discussion changed from Colingus to the characteristics of a particular monster. Sometime later, he smiled. Let's end it here for today. Oh, it's over already. By your will, the Sun, Justice, and the Hangman stood up at the same time. After several connections of the members, Klein quickly descended from the fog and left the mysterious space. When he returned to his room, he dispelled the wall of spirituality and pulled back the curtains of the oriel window, allowing the sunlight to shine in. There are two important things to do this week. The first is to get the exam... Oh shit, it's happening! The first is to get examined and advance the sequence 8. The second is to make flaring sun charms. Its powers might even be higher than that of a sequence 7 or 6. Get out of here. Klein looked outside with anticipation. Tomorrow I should be able to receive the report of Mr. AZIK's paranormal disturbances tomorrow. Chapter seizing opportunities. This is where he makes a charm. Look at her. She's going crazy. Look at her. She's destroying her toy, dude. Oh, snap. Chapter 160 is called Seizing the Opportunity. Tuesday morning, having completed his mysticism curriculum, Klein didn't look for a quieter corner to read a comparison of ancient and modern names. So everything's up to date, correct? Timestamp's good. Everything's perfect. Awesome. Or Nighthawk's case compendium, and instead stayed in the break room to play cards with Leonard, Keenly, and Royale. I only told Mr. AZIK to create an opportunity for me to take sealed artifact 30782 out. It still departed on my improvisation skills to seize opportunity. Klein's mind wasn't on his card, so he played terribly. He lost 5 soli an hour. Damn, and they're taking for all his money. And he felt the pinch. He planned to concentrate on the game to recover some of his cash. After he bought various ingredients from the varying sun charms yesterday afternoon. Oh, he's getting ready to make it. His private stash of cash was reduced to less than £1. Dude, this guy's always losing his stash of money. Was reduced to less than £1 once again. Plus, he had to pay 2 soli every year for the day of the carriage rental fees to search for the house with the red chimney. As they were waiting for Keenly to shuffle the cards, he picked up the copper penny before him and spun it casually. He suddenly felt Royale's gaze on him, a very intense gaze. What? Klein was first stunned, then looked at the copper penny that was about to fall. I'm gonna turn the music up just a little bit. Is she wary of me cheating with divination? We're just playing cards among ourselves. Do we have to be so serious about this? He suddenly understood and slammed down the penny with a dry laugh. Just then, Dunsmith knocked on the door and entered. Oh, this is it. Oh, shit. Seizing an opportunity. I get it. Just then, Dunsmith knocked on the door and entered. He looked around and said, there's a situation in Morristown. Leonard, please handle it. Morristown. Klein felt his mind jolt as he pretended to ask casually, Captain, what kind of situation? Dunn glanced over and explained, recently there have been a few paranormal cases in the area. Firstly, people would hear sobs when walking past the cemetery and seeing vague figures flash by. Then a widow encountered her deceased husband when she woke up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. She nearly fainted from the fright. Dude, he has to be like some high sequence corpse collector. In addition, there was an elderly man who lived alone. He began hearing heavy footsteps reverberating in the house all of the time. However, silence reigned once again, and and the moment he lights the candle or gas lamp, the people in town are believers of the goddess, so the local priest reported the situation. No one got hurt. If it's too loud, let me know. No one got hurt, and it's almost borders of the level of a prank. No one got hurt, and it almost borders on the level of prank. It should be Mr. AZIK. Klein used an expression and tone that he had rehearsed many times over. Captain, there might be a secret link for these paranormal cases to happen so steadily. In this situation, divination could provide an important clue. I think I can help Leonard. Upon hearing that, Leonard's green eyes immediately locked onto Klein. He was apparently trying to find clues and trace from Klein's face. Oh, Leonard is onto Klein. Dunn nodded first, but remained quiet and hesitant. When Klein saw the captain's response, he immediately added, some of these things might require ritualistic magic to purify them. Makes sense, Dunn thought and said, you and Leonard would head to Morristown today. Without anyone saying anything else, he added additionally, you won't be able to make it for your combat training in the afternoon. I'll send someone to inform Gawain. Phew, the first step is complete. Klein silently let out a sigh. He quickly packed away his Solian pens. Then he suddenly paused and looked sideways at Dunn. He said solemnly, Captain, I think we should prepare for the worst. If there's a powerful wraith behind the paranormal events, he's so smooth. It might be very dangerous for only Leonard and I. Plus, it takes 3 hours to get to Morristown, right? Even if we manage to send a telegram to request for backup in time, we would still have to hold out for quite a while. So, Dunn interrupted. I want to get the assistance of another teammate. Klein pretended to think for a moment and said, and according to the rules, a mission with 3 or more Nighthawks involved can apply for level 3 shield artifact. Yes, 30782 is the most suitable for this job. Hi, Ellie. Upon hearing that, Leonard laughed and said, exactly your style. Careful, cautious, taking no risks. Smooth, dude. Hang out with me for a little bit, okay, Ellie? You seem to be implying that I'm a coward. I'm a person who looked directly at the eternal blazing sun. Damn it. It's like, shut up. Klein pretended that he didn't hear Leonard and earnestly looked at Dunsmith. Oh, chill, Ellie. You're getting too excited. Captain, what do you think? We should really take extra care against any accidents. There have been too many coincidences lately. Dunn nodded thoughtfully and looked at the other two teammates. Keenly joined Leonard and Klein on their trip to Morristown. Oh, hurry up and write an application. After I sign it, retrieve sealed artifact 30782 from Chansgate. Alright, the short Klein said, putting down the cards in his hand. Alright, Klein first fist pumped in his mind while he looked anxious and solemn on the outside. At that very moment, Seekatron was monitoring Hood Eugene in the asylum while Friar was on duty at the Chansgate. Klein left the... Ow, Ellie. Klein left the recreation room and put on his black tuxedo. He took his hat and cane, then waited together with Leonard for Keenly at the stairway that connected to the basement. There was no one there and it was extremely quiet. Leonard suddenly looked sideways at Klein and said, I think you better give up on any unrealistic dreams. What? Klein replied in confusion. Leonard walked forward and stood by the edge of the stairs. He looked in the darkness of the stairway. Even during a mission, it will be impossible for you to discover my secret and understand my uniqueness. Bro, can you stop thinking so highly about yourself? Did you think I applied for this mission to spy on you? I didn't even have such thoughts. Enlightened Klein chuckled. How can you be so sure that my uniqueness won't help reveal your secret? Leonard's expression grew grave, but then he smiled and said, it will be, I shall wait for you to discover it then. When I gather more information and items... Oh, careful, Ellie. Holy sh... Dude, she is so aggressive when she's playing. Damn, look, she's fucking that shit up. I'm gonna have to buy her a new toy online. That's so funny, dude. Oh, you haven't gone to sleep? Oh, dude, power nap, clown. It's okay. While Klein replied in confusion, Leonard walked forward and stood by the edge of the stairs. He looked into the darkness of the stairway. Even during the mission, it will be impossible for you to discover my secret and understanding my uniqueness. Bro, can you stop thinking so highly about yourself? Did you think I applied for this mission to spy on you? I didn't even have such thoughts, and Light and Klein chuckled. How can you be so sure that my uniqueness won't help to reveal your secret? Leonard's expression grew grave, but then he smiled and said, it will, I shall wait for you to discover it then. When I gather more information and items, I will go to the world above the Grey Fog to help you do a divination. You're welcome, Klein thought sarcastically in his head. Soon the small-framed Keenly brought the mutated Sunsager emblem up to the winding stairs. When Klein felt the unique warmth and purity, he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that he had finally completed the very first, most difficult step in his plan of siphoning the powers of the eternal blazing sun's divine blood. Then the three of them left Blackthorn Security Company and walked to Zoatland Street. They walked towards the carriage that belonged to the Nighthawks. Will the purifying effect bother the horse? Keenly suddenly asked, anxious. I don't want a horse that can only praise the sun to pull the carriage. He had been a Nighthawk for longer than Klein, but he was the one far from experienced. No, really? No, sealed artifact 30782 only purifies living entities with a high level of intelligence. Klein lowered his voice in response. If not, I wouldn't be bitten by insects, he added blankly in his heart. Oh, I see, ha. I didn't read the information thoroughly enough. Keenly pressed down on his black silk hat and laughed in enlightenment. As Klein had yet to master the skill of driving of a carriage, he sat inside of the carriage for the following 3 hours. He rubbed the sealed artifact 30782 in his hand while he watched Leonard and Keenly taking turns driving. They finally arrived at Morristown around lunchtime. How beautiful. Keenly complimented sincerely as he stepped down from the carriage and looked towards the boundless golden wheat fields that surrounded the town. The dates represented the volcanic constellation was coming to an end, and the bumper harvest constellation was going to rule everyone's life. Leonard was in driver's seat as he looked over the area and mouth as he thought he was going to reset any sooner. Hi, Ellie. But in the end, he only sputtered one sentence. How beautiful. Klein held back the urge to laugh as he put on his top hat. He took the cane and got off the carriage. At that moment, a middle-aged man in a black priest gown walked over. He drew a crimson moon in his chest and said, Praise the lady. Are you the friends of the St. Selena's Cathedral sent to help us? Yes, priest sirs, may the goddess bless you. Leonard jumped off the carriage and replied with a smile, we're here to take care of the recent paranormal incidences. Music a little bit loud? I got you. Well, I think now it's good, right? I think the last one was a little bit loud, right? Seemingly, the gray-haired, blue-eyed seer? The gray-haired, blue-eyed seer saw many townsfolk approaching as he quickly empathized. Morristown wasn't big. Regardless of which direction one chose to travel in, one will enter the plains within 10 minutes. The people who stayed there knew each other, so what happened earlier had spread. Many townsfolk were waiting for the Church of the Evernight Goddess to send people to resolve the problem. Hence, when they saw that the priest was greeting the strangers, they quickly surrounded them out of the concern and curiosity. Some tippy-toed and some tried to hear what they were saying. Leonard chuckled and said, Priest, don't worry, we're professionals. Look, we brought holy water, silver daggers, dark sacred emblems, and also garlic. Shush now, I want to hear more, not the music. Oh, I got you. Oh, I got you. It was a little bit loud? I got you, guys. I got you, guys. Sieur wore a look of confusion and he even started to suspect that the St. Selena Cathedral had sent over a bunch of frauds. The citizens who surrounded them revealed gratified smiles as though they were finally in safe hands. Leonard got close to the priest Sieur and explained softly in his ear, they believe in these things. Without waiting for the priest's reply, he added, let's have lunch at the church first, then we shall take care of the matters. Yes, lunch is very important. When those paranormal incidences are taken care of, it'll be time to take turns looking after sealed artifact 30782 and also the opportunity for me to make my flaring sun charms. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Of course, making the flaring sun charms during the day would get the best results. Klein thought, brimming with anticipation. So it's better to do it while the sun is out? Alright, chapter 161. I lied. Let me get my timestamp first. Alright, now we're good. Chapter 161 is called Inverted Mausoleum. Are we talking about the Gray Fog? Most of the buildings in Morristown adhere to a style that was popular 100 years ago. The most eye-catching building in town was a black cathedral spiral. After setting the carriage, Klein and the others quickly finished their lunch of bread, toast, bacon, butter, and coffee. We can still tolerate about 2 hours and 35 minutes of sealed artifact 30782 purification. Keenly stood at the door of the church and took out a pocket watch from his suit's pocket. I suggest dealing with suspected haunting incidents first to prevent the situation from getting worse. Then we can return to the church and take turns watching over sealed artifact to recover. Under normal circumstances, sequence 9, 8, and 7 Beyonders have to stay far away from the mutated Sun Sacred emblem for 2 hours to recover completely, or at least an hour if they were to make partial recovery. Alright, I have no objections. Klein and Leonard spoke in unison. Then, which case should we deal with first? Cleanly asked. Leonard wiped away his frivolous attitude and said, let's start with the old man living alone who heard heavy footsteps in the house. Why? Keenly asked instinctively. Klein was also interested to hear about exclamation. Could this be an intuition of a poet? He mocked Leonard secretly. Leonard shifted his gaze from Keenly's face to Klein, then looked at Keenly again. He smiled. Because it's the coolest to the church. How did you know that? It's not written in the records. Klein asked. Leonard snickered. Didn't I go to the bathroom during our meal? I came across a trainee priest on my way back and had a conversation. He told me that Noah's house was close to church. Oh yeah, the old man's name is Noah. So we have Noah, and then we have the priest series or something. All right, Keenly didn't have any objections. They arrived at Noah's house at a mere minute later. Noah was an old man with thinning white hair. He had lost his left hand in a war when he was younger and had no choice but to leave the army. He returned to his hometown after he received his compensation. At that moment, he opened the door and looked at the three strangers in front of him before looking at Syrier, who was rushing over from the other cathedral. He said with a raspy voice, "Come in. I hope that you can solve my problem. I heard that you brought holy water, sacred emblems, a silver dagger, and garlic. This is great. My worries have eased greatly. Please forgive my blabbering. You have to understand that the conditions of an old man after not being able to sleep peacefully for 2 nights. Oh my god. Oh my goddess. I've been so scared all this time that my head feels like it's in a cloud." Leonard suddenly straightened his back when he entered the house, his eyes surveying the surroundings. After that, Klein felt a cold aura within the room. Those were traces of the activity left behind by a ghost. There really was an impure being here. Keenly was the last one to notice as he suppressed his voice. Very weak, Leonard said with a relaxed tone as he retracted his gaze. The Midnight Poet was a job with a relatively high spiritual sensitivity. When compared to all other sequent aces in the church's records, yes, Klein could feel the warmth and purifying energy of sealed artifact 3078 quickly dispelling the sinister aura in the room without any trouble. At this moment, the people of town had... Volume's a little too low. After that, cough, Leonard. Oh, at this moment, the people of the town had all gathered at Noah's house after looking curiously at Klein, Leonard, and Keenly. Cough, Leonard cleared his throat and recited, "We have the blessings of the goddess. Those impure beings will vanish quickly and won't bring about any more trouble." After that, he shot a look at Klein for him to perform a purification ritual for everyone to see. Why me? Klein shot a look back. Of course, he didn't know if Leonard understood what his gaze meant, but clearly Leonard understood. He said softly, "You're the expert in rituals. All right, blame me for the one who volunteered for the mission." Klein tidied his clothes and took off the holy water, sacred emblem, a silver dagger. Stop it, calm down. And garlic from Leonard. He first placed the dark sacred emblem in front of his chest and peeled the garlic and tossed its clovers one by one to every corner of the house. Huh? This is how garlic is used to dispel ghosts. It's different from what descriptions in newspapers. Will this work? The townsfolk looking at them... Oh, now it's too loud. The townsfolk looking at them broke into discussion, curious and excited as if they were watching a circus. Oh, that's very on the nose for a future clown. It's useless. I'm just acting. Klein suddenly felt that he had become a clown. Ooh, subtle references. I see what's going on here. He closed his eyes and splashed the holy water onto the ground with the silver dagger. He splashed the water as he walked around the house, reciting an incantation, the Evernight Goddess, the Mother of Secrets, the Lady of Crimson, Empress of Disaster and Horror, Mistress of Calm and Silence. Those typical acts of the charlatan shocked everyone's present as the townfolk felt silent. And once people turned silent, it was easy for them to notice something they missed. What a warm feeling. It feels like I'm sunbathing. No, I feel like I'm looking at a pure sky. How magical is this the effect of the holy water? They sure live up to their names as priests of the St. Selena Cathedral. Ellie, stop. Praise the lady. The townsfolk discussed and whisper. The looks they gave Klein, Leonard, and Keenly slowly became that of respect. Noah, also visibly relaxed, not doubting that the problem has been solved. Seal Artifact 30782 is doing all the real work here. We don't actually need to do anything to chase the ghosts away. All we need to do is stay here for a minute. It's not tiring or troublesome at all. After Klein purified the sinister aura of every corner of the house, he opened his eyes and put away his silver dagger, drawing the shape of the crimson moon in front of his chest with a serious expression. Praise the lady, praise the lady. The townsfolk replied devoutly. We still have things to do, but we need absolute silence. Leonard smiled as he looked around. The townsfolk, after witnessing something so professional, didn't stay. They recorded from Noah's house like a tide flowing priest to yours lead. Klein is just making a performance for the crown. The sealed art, yeah, it's doing all the work. Yeah, like he's basically just acting. Even the master of the house has to leave temporarily. I actually wanted to take a nap. Noah pouted as he walked towards the cathedral. Leonard took a step forward and closed the door and turned towards Klein. Do a divination of the house of the incident. No problem. Klein also wanted to find out what he could divine. I know Mr. Zig did this, but he seems to be of a rather superior nature. Ha, a person that can live for 1,300 years must be of a superior nature, so my divination should definitely be affected. Under such circumstances, with the help of the mysterious space above the Great Fog, even I'm not sure what revelations I would receive. Klein took out the pen and paper he brought along with him and wrote down a divination statement. The cause of haunting at Noah's house. I'm sorry if you guys can hear the... It's okay. I mean, she's just hanging out now. She's just playing. The cause of the haunting at Noah's house. He held a piece of paper and walked to a round table. He then took a seat close to his eyes and leaned back. Klein suddenly saw a black mausoleum in his blurred, hazy dream world. It was similar to a pyramid, but stood inverted and was almost fully buried. So it's an upside down pyramid that's buried, but stood inverted and was almost fully buried. A black fog obscured everything within the ancient mausoleum. Black fog, so maybe we're in the Forsaken Lands? Klein snapped awake and opened his eyes. Did you find any... Oh, maybe AZIK was from here. Ah, that's why all the black mist came out of him. Right? All the black mist came out of Mr. Zik when he was remembering things. Theory crafting. Mr. Zik was the one that caused all the darkness to spread around the Forsaken Lands. Which maybe implies he's from there? Right? Because he had like all that black aura, and then he's envisioning the black aura. The only other place where all this aura comes from is from the Forsaken Lands. Right? A black fog obscured everything within the ancient mausoleum. Klein snapped awake and opened his eyes. Did you find anything? Keenly asked in concern, Klein thought for a moment and described the revelation he received in his dream without hiding anything. He ended it by saying the mausoleum was definitely not in the style of the northern continent. I mean the 5th epoch. I've someone of an expert in this field. Leonard nodded seemingly and thought, that's an inverted pyramid from the southern continent. It represents the entering of the nether realm from the living world. It's a mausoleum that only so-called descendants of death can erect from themselves. Be it in the Balam Empire of the past or the satellite states such as the Highlands Kingdom. It's a mausoleum that only the so-called descendants of death erect from themselves. Be it the Balam Empire of the past or the satellite states such as the Highland lands. In some sense, it's a symbol of death. Well, ghosts are definitely more related to death. The results of the divination are undoubtedly correct. Ignoring Leonard's mockery, Klein suddenly had an interesting thought. Could Mr. Zik... Oh, that's what I'm saying! Could Mr. Zik be the descendant of death, or could he have made a transaction with death to obtain such a long life? According to a chapter from the Revelation of the Evernight, as well as the internal records of the Nighthawks, death was a malevolent god, once cursing catastrophe. Oh my god, I can't read. In the northern continent at the end of the 4th epoch. Those times were now referred to as the Pale Era. Oh wait, yeah, right. I wrote Pale Era, right? Okay, my notes are popping. If there was a connection, then there would be something to investigate regarding the person. Oh, I thought I paused my thing. Okay. If there was a connection, then there would be something to investigate regarding the person working behind the scenes. Lives in the house with the red chimney and stole the skull of Mr. Zik's child. Of course, this could be an excuse for the northern continent to colonize the southern continent. After all, most of the inhabitants of the southern continent believes in death. The 3 Nighthawks didn't stay for long. Since they didn't discover anything, they soon left Noah's house and started dealing with the 2 other haunting incidents. The same process, the same results. They quickly rid the town of the auras of the dead spirits, but didn't manage to find the cause of all the trouble. Along the way, Leonard asked the townsfolk if any strangers had entered the town in the past few days, but received a negative answer. Mr. Zik didn't come. He must have come and left in secret without anyone noticing him. He sure is cautious. When he said that he would be returning to Tingen by Wednesday, did he mean that the spirits would have vanished on their own according to Day? Even if it weren't here to deal with, Klein thought about it as he returned to the entrance of the Morse Cathedral of Leonard and Kinley. They could still last another hour and 40 minutes with the mutated sun sacred emblem. We'll take 1 hour shifts looking at the sealed artifact. Klein suppressed the excitement in his heart. He looked at the color of the sky and said, Let's try to head back to Tingen City for dinner. No problem. Leonard glanced at Klein and left, but for safety's sake, I suggest that two people look at the sealed artifact while one rests. Klein froze for a moment, his mind churning quickly. He smiled and replied, sure, but this way we have to calculate the most logical rotation, who gets to rest, who's next, and who will be last. How much time do we need to recover, and by how much? Dang it, he's like, bro, I want to be by myself. Well, I think that we have to establish an algorithm with the unknown value in order to establish the best way, then compare with the effectiveness of having one person look over it at a time. It's even better if we can compare the effectiveness too. Let's first assume that the unknown value is... Wait, Leonard's green eyes were filled with blankness and fear. If that's the case, let's look after it one at a time. The person looking after it will stay in the cathedral during this shift as... Oh! Wait. We're... Oh my god. Oh, wait. We're in the cathedral. The anime trailer. The person looking after it will stay in the... Wait. Oh, wait. I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen. The person looking after it will stay in the cathedral during his shift as if he is sufficiently large radius. Of course, we'll have to get priests. Oh, RIP to the priest. Holy shit. We'll have to get priest, Sir, and the rest to stay somewhere else. The other two will stand guard outside the church and prevent the others from... Oh my god, there's gonna be a fucking fight. It's the anime trailer. I share the same opinion. Keenly had felt a headache coming. I thought this was all anime original. Like, man, when are we gonna find a church? And I remember he used fire, right? Oh, I know what's gonna happen. I share the same opinion. I can't read. Keenly had felt a headache coming on Klein's spot after the mathematical problem. Alright, Klein nodded, looking as though he was forced to do so. If he hadn't been able to convince his partners, then he would have to make a deal with Leonard in secret, giving him away some information about himself to get him to leave. But the problem was solved now, so he was willing to give up a little bit of info. Alright, chapter 162 is called Intense Sunlight. Weak light shone. Do I have my timestamp? Yes. I haven't updated my chapter. Hold up. Okay. Weak light shone through the narrow window from high above, making the interior of Morph's Cathedral a little more visible. Klein put his top hat on his knee while he leaned on his leg against his cane. He sat quietly on the first row and left a few and looked at the altar before him. There weren't any statues of the goddess except for a massive dark sacred emblem. Its base was black with a crimson half moon that's surrounded by radiant points of light. Let's do this. On the wall behind the sacred emblem, there were a few openings which allowed sunlight to shine from the outside. They were what? They were focused in with tiny specks of pure light, which combined with the dark surroundings to form a scene that resembled that of a lofty starry night. None of the traditional gods ever left behind an actual image. Only their symbols were worshipped and glorified by people. That seems to be a manifestation of the commands. Did not look directly at the god. Klein let this thought wander. He wasn't in a hurry to make the flaring sun charms as soon as he got the opportunity to be alone with sealed artifact 30782. Turn volume up a bit. He felt that he had to be careful, patient, and had to wait. With the first 15 minutes, it was possible that Leonard and Keenly would enter at any moment to remind him about points that he should take note of. In this extremely quiet atmosphere, time flew by quickly. Klein suddenly snapped back to his senses as he took out his silver vine leaf pocket watch, flipped it open, and took a glance. 20 minutes have passed, he muttered to himself. He then set his silk top hat and silver-edged black cane by the side. He got up and walked towards a hidden corner near the altar. At first, he faced the side of an altar, but once he saw the large dark sacred emblem and the holy scenery that resembled a depiction of a night sky, he felt guilty and uncomfortable. Hence, he turned his back to the altar. He doesn't look at the altar. Dan Klein took out sealed artifact 30782 from the inner pocket of his black tuxedo. He bent down to place the golden, unadorned badge on the ground. Get ready? I got you. Klein took a look at the sun emblem that was filled with abstract meaning. Then he took out a small candle mixed with sandalwood. He put it right at the bottom of the sealed artifact 30782. That was a dualistic ritual that he had learned from the eternal blazing sun. He used an item that was closely related to the deity to represent him. What? He used an item that was closely related to the deity to represent him, while he used the candle to represent himself. So, what's he talking about? He took a deep breath to ease his tense emotions. Klein then took out the items required for the ritual, one after another, including a carving knife, 2 thin gold slices, sun essential oils extracted from the combination of black rimming sunflower, golden rim sunflowers, and white rim sunflowers, golden hand fingered citron powder, and also rosemary powder. After that, Klein adeptly used the silver ritual dagger to guide the flow of spirituality. He guided it to flow around the simple altar and created a shapeless sealed wall. He squatted down, placed the silver dagger down, and extended his right hand. He lit up the candle that represented himself by rubbing his spirituality. Under the flickering dim light, Klein picked the sun essential oils and dripped. Okay, when he's saying him, he's talking about the eternal blazing sun, right, Alma? Okay, thank you. Got it. Under the flickering dim light, Klein picked the sun essential oils and dripped a drop onto the flame. With a puff, an illusionary fog spread out with the sunlight scent of sunlight. With the slight scent of sunlight. After burning the finger citron and rosemary powder, Klein held a carving knife and golden slices. He stood up, took a step back, and then recited in Hermes, the blood of the eternal blazing sun. You are the inextinguishable light, the embodiment of order, the god of deeds, the guardian of businesses. Inextinguishable light, embodiment, order, gods of deeds, and guardian of businesses were all part of the eternal blazing sun's honorable titles. If there wasn't the prefix of the blood of the eternal blazing sun, the ritual would require the god's response to proceed. If so, Klein suspected that the eternal blazing sun would recognize him as a disrespected person that looked at him directly. Then Leonard and Keenly would only find a pile of black ashes when they entered. Plus, the ritual had to be conducted via ancient Hermes, a ritualistic language that stemmed from nature only in language without any protection, but had outstanding effects, could allow an incantation sidestep around the eternal blazing sun and point towards the mutated sun sacred emblem. At the same time as he was stealing the power from a deity, Klein held no way to divine if it would be successful. Ahead of time, he felt that it would result in him directly dealing with the deity again, so he can only recite the rest of the incantations with a strained heart. I pray to you, I pray for you to give me strength. Give me strength to complete the flaring sun charm. The blood of the eternal blazing sun, please transfer your strength into my charm. O fingered citron, a herb that belongs to the sun, please bestow your powers to my charm. As the incantation neared completion, Klein suddenly felt something light up before him. The simple gold badge radiated. The badge? Oh, the artifact. Okay, the simple gold badge radiated with an intense light as though the sun had descended onto the land. Klein suddenly found himself enveloped in extreme heat. His hair was heating up rapidly and was almost on the brink of igniting. His feet felt like they were stepped barefoot on the yellow sand that had been exposed to the midday sun, and his face and body were greeted with the hot wind and blowing from every direction. In that instant, he felt that he needed to do something to let the burning energies out, otherwise he would turn into a human candle. It required almost zero thought as Klein lifted both his hands. While his thoughts were boiling over like porridge, he relied on the combination of his spirituality and the strong winds, as well as the instincts and ritualistic guidance, to begin etching symbols corresponding path numbers and magical characteristics and ancient incantations on both sides of the gold slices with his carving knife. Outside the church, Leonard was standing in the shadows to hide from coming into contact with direct sunlight. He's watching. Outside the church, Leonard was standing in the shadows to hide from coming into contact with direct sunlight. Suddenly, the sunlight intensified like the hottest day of a year in early June, like in early July. He squinted his eyes and looked towards the sky. He saw that the blue sky had no clouds or dust. It was so pure that it made people gasp with admiration. Such strange weather. Besides him, Keenly also noticed the changes in the sunlight. Leonard responded with a smile when he suddenly turned his head. He knitted his eyebrows slightly and cast his gaze towards the cathedral. He's on to something. Leonard, maybe he doesn't just have main character complex. Maybe he actually knows something. Yeah, luckily Roseanne isn't here. Otherwise, she wouldn't be complaining about the sun tanning her skin. Leonard looked away and said with a smile, the blazing sunlight remained intense for a few minutes before it returned to normal. In the cathedral, Klein's carving knife finished the final stroke. As he finished the magical characteristics that represented light, the spirituality on both sides of the golden slices suddenly mellowed together. As the light converged onto the metal, no, this is even closer to godhood, Klein was finally relieved from the boiling and burning sensation. He examined the two flaring sun charms in his hand with a clear mind. The golden luster on the surface of the charms had turned dim, and the pattern looked ancient yet complex. There was a warm, damping feeling that seeped into Klein's skin bit by bit. Not bad. I finally have a more impressive trump card. Klein signed emotionally. Like, he did it. He said the activation incantation from the flaring sun-charms as the world light in ancient Hermes. I want to light and there will be light. He quipped amused. Then he put the flaring sun-charms into another pocket. He didn't put them with the slumber, requiem, and dream. Oh, he put them separate. Because the flaring sun-charms will decrease their efficiency period. The flaring sun-charms will decrease their efficiency period. Yes, the power of the flaring sun-charms can be maintained for at least a year or even longer. Klein reined his thoughts back and looked at the mutated sun sacred emblem on the ground. It didn't look any different on the surface, and it still gives off feelings of warmth and purity. Klein finally relaxed and quickly completed the ritual and removed the spiritual wall. At that point, he thought to examine himself. He realized that his clothes were almost drenched, and he was covered in sweat. The edges of his hair were slightly curly too. Thankfully, Klein sighed in satisfaction. He put away his things and returned to his original seat. He was so exhausted that he slept the moment he sat down until he was woken up by the footsteps. His eyes shot open as he touched the flaring sun charm subconsciously to see if they were still there. You don't look alright, Leonard asked as he entered the cathedral. Klein massaged his temples and stood up and smiled. I'm nearing my limit. He took out the silver pocket watch and took a glance. Just in time. It's your turn to look after sealed artifact 30782. Before he finished speaking, Klein took off the mutated sun sacred emblem and passed it to Leonard. Leonard watched Klein walk out of the cathedral. Then he dropped his frivolously attitude and examined sealed artifact 30782 attentively and seriously. He grew confused and looked bewildered. No way he can tell it's like slightly lighter. After the shift ends, the three Nighthawks began their journey back. Before that, he told Priest Sieur to take notes of the town situation. If there were any paranormal incidences, he was immediately send a telegram to St. Selena Cathedral. At 20 minutes past 7, just say 7:20, Bran. I got confused. At 20 minutes past 7 that night, they finally arrived at Zotland Street and returned to sealed artifact 30782. When he made sure that the captain didn't notice anything unusual. Okay, so there wasn't a fight in that cathedral. So it wasn't the anime scene. I thought that was a scene from the anime. Klein left Blackthorn Security Company and arrived home before 8. He took out his keys and opened the door only to see an unknown figure. It was obviously a maiden who wasn't even in her 20s. Oh, they hired the maid. Right? She was in an old grayish white dress and she was whipping the dining hall with all her might. She had black hair and brown eyes. Her eyes were small, her nose wasn't sharp enough, but her facial features were very ordinary. Who is this? Klein was stunned at first, then he realized that she was most likely the maidservant that has come for a trial. At that moment, Benson lowered his new paper and looked at his brother. He smiled and said, a company that doesn't allow employees to leave the office on time is annoying. Wait, a company that doesn't allow employees to leave the office on time is annoying, but it provides a salary that can counteract any kind of dissatisfaction, Klein replied with a laugh. When Miss Justice 300 pounds reached me, I'll inform Benson and Melissa about my raise to 6 pounds a week. That way they would worry less about our family finances. Klein thought as he put his cane aside and took off his top hat. He walked to the living hall and lowered his voice and asked, have you made a choice? He had divined the information of the three maidservants the day before and found out that all three were suitable. Hence the decision was left to his brother and sister. Yes, Bella, weekly salary of 5 solely. She is very willing and also capable of learning cooking. She hopes that she can become a home chef, at which point her weekly pay will double. Her father is a factory worker at the Tinkin Steelworks Union Factory, and her mother is a laundry worker. Benson replied with a chuckle. Of course, another thing that led Melissa and me to the decision is that the other two servants believe in the Lord of Storms, and she is a believer of the goddess. I personally don't mind the believers of the Lord of Storm, but Melissa didn't quite like the idea. It wasn't that Melissa didn't like it. A more accurate description would be, I grieve at the misfortune that I am infuriated at their refusal to resist. Yes, it was said by Lu Juan. Klein recalled his sister's behavior and revealed a smile. His real sister? Klein recalled his sister's behavior and revealed a smile. Benson didn't elaborate further. He put down the newspaper and stood up. Since you're back, let's have dinner. The next day, Klein entered the Blackthorn Security Company in a good mood. Good morning. Roseanne looked at the left and to the right. Then she said, old Neil is sick. Let's go and visit him at noon. Oh, shut the fuck up. No. What do you mean he's sick? I'm not reading 164 if I think what's gonna happen happens. I'm not even gonna read chat right now. Could it be that the ritual for treating could it be? Okay, maybe it's not that bad. Could it be that the ritual for treating diarrhea caused severe constipation? Well, from the way he acted after learning of the acting method, it's not impossible for him to suddenly fall sick. He's trying to advance. He's getting old, so once his mind turns feral, his body will also suffer from those ramifications. No. Shut up. Roseanne nodded and said, yeah, he sent someone to the captain to request some time off. No. Klein nodded slightly. Let's visit him at noon. Sigh. Old Neil sure is pitiful. What? His wife passed away early? He's doing it. The reason he chose Corpse Collector was to see his wife. And his son is busy in some other city. When he's sick, all he can do is stay home in loneliness and helpless. Nah. That was the first thing he recalled from his first visit to O'Neill's house. Listening to Klein's sigh, Roseanne opened her eyes and asked in shock, when did O'Neill get married? When did he get married? Wait, I actually missed that line. Let me read it out loud one more time. So this is what I skipped, huh? It said that death fell to the combined efforts of the 7 gods. It's impossible to determine when Lemud Castle was built, but it couldn't have been built before the Pale Era. Okay, that means Lemud Castle was built after Death was slain by the 7 gods. Which, oh my, I can't believe, how the hell did I miss that line? Okay, you know what that means? AZIK is death. That has to be it. I'm choking on my saliva. He has to be, oh my god, AZIK is death. That's why he's able to do all these like corpse collector abilities that haven't been mentioned yet. So it's implied that he died, so he probably lost all his memories and woke up with amnesia. And then maybe he created Lemud Castle after, and then when he was gaining all his past memories, that's when he started like writing all this info down for him when he wakes up, like the last time when he woke up 40 years ago. That way he's like hidden. Oh, because he doesn't want people to know. I'm sorry, I'm not even reading chat. Maybe he doesn't want to know he is cooking. I'm cooking. Oh, AZIK is death. Okay, how the hell? Dude, if I read that statement before, holy shit, I would have said that right away. Because the whole time I'm like, there's something weird of AZIK, but then they said Lemud was built 200 years ago. And like, oh, that doesn't line up if he's 1,400 years ago. But if he was from the 4th epoch, yeah. Oh, message retracted. Hold up. Maybe that was a confirmation or a denial. Okay, wait. Okay, hold up. That's why when he saw the, I don't know. That explains so much of what happened in there where like everybody's like hearing the dead and whatnot. Maybe you are right or maybe not. I like that. I can neither confirm nor deny. Ship it, clip it, send it. I'm gonna need to remember that. Okay. I got that out. Okay. Thank you guys thank you so much for telling me that I skipped that Mysterious World. Thank you guys. And thank you Romero for sending me that. And also you for posting a Camby Mysterious World. Thank you guys. Got it. Okay, now we know. Perfect. Okay, we'll start right here. I'm gonna listen to you guys. Mr. Retracted? Okay, I didn't read that. Chapter 160. Oof, we're so far. Thank you guys. Chapter 163 is called Various Signs. What? Klein was left dumbfounded when he heard Roseanne's question. He recalled in his days, I previously visited O'Neill's place just last month. I saw a piano in the living room and he told me that his deceased wife loved music. As he spoke, Klein suddenly became alarmed as he began having unpleasant thoughts. Roseanne knitted her beautiful brows and said with uncertainty, perhaps I remembered wrong. No, Miss Oriana and I frequented O'Neill's plays during the earlier half of the year. There was no piano in the living room back then. I clearly remembered asking him why he chose to remain single. He answered what he... Oh my god. His answer was that he wasn't met... Oh my god, I can't read. Higher music? I got you guys. His answer was that he hasn't met a lady that he wishes to marry. Make it like 10%. We did like 10% louder. Let me know if we should still go more up. There was no piano during the earlier half of the year, and he answered the question of why he chose to remain single. He's still with his wife. Klein tightened up and asked in a deep voice, Roseanne, how long has it been since you visited Old Neil's place? Not ever since Keenly became a Nighthawk and Viola chose to resign as a clerk. Oh my god, he still has his wife. I've been either burning the midnight oil or catching up on sleep, so how could I have time to visit him? It's been since the beginning of June. Roseanne became a little lost upon receiving the question, so all he did was answer honestly. Klein's heart sank as he sensed something was wrong. He fished out a half-pence from his pocket and held it between his thumb and middle finger. Is it his wife? Did his wife become a wraith? He took a deep breath and quickly decided on a divination statement. There's something wrong with Old Neil's current situation. There's something wrong with Old Neil's current situation. No! Stop! Stop! His pupils quickly darkened as he recited the statement silently and entered cognition. Ding! He flicked his thumb, pushing the brass coin into the air and allowing it to spin. Pock! The coin fell right into Klein's open palm. This time the portrait of George III was facing up. The portrait signified that it was correct and it was positive. Oh, it's perfect now? Okay. That meant that there really was something wrong with Old Neil's current situation. As Klein clenched the coin, he suddenly remembered the translucent pair of color and roofless eyes without any brows that he had seen behind Old Neil. We're gonna find out what the fucking eyes... Oh, we're gonna find out what the eyes were. As Klein clenched the coin, he suddenly remembered the translucent pair of cold and ruthless eyes without any brows that he had seen behind Old Neil when he had just become a Beyonder and was experimenting with his spirit vision. Oh my god. We're about to get another mystery answered. Old Neil had explained that the pair of eyes was a characteristic of ritualistic magic. That's right. I also saw an almost formless human figure by the door at the periphery of the light. The color of its aura was identical to the surrounding darkness. Also, after I completed the seer potion, I secretly changed the way I activated my spirit vision to the tapping of my left molar. I happened to look at Old Neil and he suddenly coughed violently. Scene after scene appeared in Klein's mind, turning his expression grim. Roseanne looked at him and asked in fear, No, fuck you. No. No. I'm gonna fucking cry if he lost control. The Old Neil, I fucking like this man too much already. The Old Neil lose control. No way, even though he's petty and stingy and wants to be... Oh my god, he lost control because he taught Klein that, because Klein taught him the acting method. That Old Neil lose control? No way. Even though he's pretty and stingy and wants to be reimbursed for all his expenses, he's still a good person. He rarely gets angry. No way he wouldn't lose control. I cannot be sure, but I think that Old Neil is on the brink of losing control. Klein consoled Roseanne. He quickly made his way past the partition and opened the door to the captain's office. Dunn Smith was startled by the sudden intrusion, nearly choking on his coffee. What happened? He didn't bang Klein. His expression instantly became stern. Klein answered simply without hiding anything. Captain, my divination tells me that there's something wrong with Old Neil. Last month, Old Neil told me that his late wife loved music, but today Roseanne told me that he's remained single all this time. Last month, Old Neil told me that his late wife loves music, but today Roseanne told me that he's remained single all this time. Also, on the day before I became a Beyonder, I saw a pair of mysterious eyes looking over everything behind Old Neil. There's also an almost transparent human figure near the door spying on us. He told me that those were characteristics of ritualistic magic. I felt that something was off and thus attempting a divination. Oh, shit. After Dunn... Oh, you guys have been using these eyes all along. Just shut up. After Dunn finished listening intentionally, he stood up and immediately as he walked over to the coat rack, he asked in puzzlement, why didn't you directly divine if Old Neil had lost control? Over the past month, Old Neil hasn't acted any different from ordinary Beyonders. He even worked with me and helped me Swain deal with a mandated Punisher who had lost control. I knew it. I knew it, bro. When he fought the dude that lost control, I was like, dude, if this is foreshadowing of them, I'm gonna end stream if what I think happens. I'm not even gonna say it. Stop. I've also observed the colors of his aura from time to time and noticed that he's relatively healthy, other than his frailty that's due to his age. Thus, I think that he's only close to losing control. He could still be saved. Klein explained his point of view in one breath. Dunn put on his black hat and whimpered before nodding. A very reasonable deduction. Let's go pay a visit to Old Neil now, and try not to agitate him if possible. After that, we can attempt to control him and use ritualistic magic to stabilize his condition and prevent him from getting worse. Control. Klein had an idea when he heard this term. Captain, could we use artifact 30611? That's a new artifact number, right? He had been thinking about how he could resolve Old Neil's problems and save him, but he didn't arrive at an answer as he had been too flustered, too uneasy, and too worried. He was reminded by Dunsmith's words and recalled the sealed artifact that might be useful. Number 06, number 611. Name Peaceful Hair Strands. Let me write that down. Wait, let me read more of this. Danger grade 3, considerably dangerous. It has been used too carefully and it can only be applied for operations that require 3 or more people. Security classification, official Nighthawk members or above. Sealing method, no direct contact with living organisms. Description, a simple decoration formed with many strands of black hair. As long as contact is made with a living being without any protection, the living being would lose all their desires and emotions, including but not limited to hunger, anger, grief, pain, envy, jealousy, hate, or so they just become like an empty shell. And he can't lose control. It has been ascertained that living beings under 0611's influence will even lose their desire to break contact with it. They will silently stay in their spot until the end of their life. Let me write that down. Okay, sorry, I had to write that down. It has been ascertained that the living beings under let me reread this again. It has been ascertained that the living beings under 0611's influence will even lose the desire to break contact with it. They will silently stay with their spot until the end of their life. If an external force is used to break contact between the person and 0611, then the person will gradually recover. But experimental data suggests that the prerequisite to this is that the person has not been in contact with sealed artifact for no more than 2 hours. Once contact lasts more than 2 hours, the victim will become silent for eternity. The highest sequence tested in sequence 5, you can avoid contact by means such as wearing gloves. The strands of hair aren't equipped with the capability to live. It doesn't have any inclinations of escaping the seal. Appendix, these strands of hair appear during a failed advancement. It was something left behind when a captain of the Nighthawks failed to advance to sequence 6. The great-eyed Dunn nodded after he heard Klein. Great suggestion, I nearly forgot about 030611. Find Royale in the recreation room. I'll retrieve the seal artifact from the Chandler's Gate and submit the application after we come back. That's the way, no time to waste. Klein didn't dawdle? I read that wrong. He immediately went to the reception room and shouted for usually expression sleepless Royale. What's the mission? Royale asked calmly. Klein exhaled and said in a serious tone, pay Old Neil a visit, pay Old Neil a visit. Royale opened her eyes wide as she had an ominous feeling. It's not confirmed yet. Klein shook his head gently. No! Royale didn't speak any further. They slipped into silence, turning the mood heavy. A few minutes passed and Dunn finally returned from the basement. He was wearing black gloves and had a tangled mess of black hair in his hand. Compared to the mutated Sunseeker emblem, the peaceful hair strands didn't look particularly weird. It would be glossed over by people if it were tossed onto the road somewhere. After calling for the chauffeur, Caesar, the four of them made their way to Old Neil's house. The wheels of the carriage rolled across the asphalt road that was wet from the rain. The carriage interior was more silent than night. It was unknown how much time has passed until Dunn sighed. Old Neil did have a partner that he was about to be engaged with when he was younger, but he suddenly became terminally ill. Old Neil wait, I need to reread this again. Old Neil did have a partner that he was about to be engaged with when he was younger, but she suddenly became terminally ill. Old Neil risked divulging the secrets of the Beyonders and tried using ritualistic magic to save her, but he didn't succeed. Old Neil back then was just a beginner in mysticism. That's why he became a course collector. Shit. No, I remember we need to swap music. I got you, Kami. No, I know. You're good, guys. According to the records, the Nighthawks back then were all on alert, afraid that Old Neil would lose control because of this, but luckily he managed to find his sanity and look normal. Let's hope that this is a false alarm as well. Klein couldn't help but draw a crimson moon before his chest and prayed, may the goddess watch over him. Dunn and Royale followed suit. May the goddess watch over him. The sky started turning brighter as the dark clouds receded. The Nighthawks arrived in front of Old Neil's bungalow. After getting Caesar to drive the carriage far away, Dunn collected himself and walked towards the main door. Cane in one hand and sealed artifacts 30611 in the other hand. Klein pressed down his hat as he and Royale followed behind the captain. They made their way past the rose and gold mint garden. When they reached the door, Klein took a step forward and pulled the rope connected to the bell within the building. Cling, cling. Oh, dude, we're almost done with the chapter. Shit. I don't want to keep reading. I'm getting scared, dude. I don't know if it's Old Neil or if it's like the dead wife or like the dead fiance, and she's like the eyes. A pleasant chime resounding in the house as it broke the heavy silence. Cling, clang, cling, clang. Pulled several times. Wow, that sounded so cool. It sounded cooler in my head. Klein pulled several times and then politely took a step back without making any further attempts. The three Nighthawks waited patiently for a few minutes, but they didn't hear any footsteps approaching the door. Perhaps Old Neil went to visit a doctor and isn't at home. Klein forced a smile. He hadn't finished his sentence when a melody came. Oh, it's the wife. When a melody came from within the building, it was the music from a piano. It was like a silent lake veiled by a thin mist beneath the moonlight. Dunn's expression became abnormally stern and grave. Klein's heart sank as well. Ah, no! Just as he was about to do another divination, he suddenly saw liquid flowing out from the gap beneath the door. The stream of liquid was transparent and pure at first, before it became dyed crimson, a crimson similar to that of blood. It was an intensely dark crimson red. Is that what you guys were spamming? Red blood? Ah! Oh. I'm not ready to read this.
All was well.
I like how the video starts with all is well. Alright, we'll link the song. You guys wanted me to read this? Okay, man up. You can do this. You can do this, bro. You're a grown man. Do this. Dude, we almost have 40 people in here live. Yo, that's a new record. You're a man, don't cry. Shit. Miserable Wretches. I don't like the name of this chapter. I'm over it. I'm dropping Lord of the Mysteries if this is a bad ending. Son of a... Okay. The color of fresh blood was reflected in Klein's eyes as they intently locked onto the flowing liquid. Just then, there was a light cough from within the house. O'Neill spoke with a raspy voice. Dunn, why are you here? Dunn's Gray's eyes. Oh, I'm about to cry. Wait, hold up. I'm gonna turn the music down for me a little bit. I don't want to read this, dude. Yeah. Oh shit. Shit, dude. Okay, just then there was a light cough from within the house. O'Neill spoke with a raspy voice. Dunn, why are you here? Dunn's Gray's eyes were extremely deep. His mellow voice replied calmly. I heard that you're sick, so we came to visit. There was a sudden silence in the house. A few seconds later, O'Neill roared in anger and terror. No, oh shit, dude. No, you're lying? Without waiting for Klein and company to say a word, his tone suddenly became weak. Yes, I know my condition isn't quite right. Old Neil. Klein closed his eyes, but the bloody liquid that was seeping through the gap of the door didn't cease. Dude, my heart is aching, dude. My heart's starting to race. Shit, dude. Okay. Then O'Neill raised his voice and said, all this time, I've never hurt anyone, nor have I thought of hurting anyone. I never betrayed the secrets of the Nighthawks. Even one. At the most, I've made claims for undeserving expenses. I really haven't committed anything evil. Klein, he suddenly shouted like he usually did. I told you about the maxim of mystery priors. Do as you wish, but do not harm. I still live by this saying. I'd rather be patient. I'd rather endure than do things that will harm others. With that said, he pled sincerely in fear. Dunn, Royale, Klein, go back, wait till tomorrow. By tomorrow, I'll be back to normal, I swear. I swear to the goddess, I wouldn't harm anyone, really. Oh, he doesn't. No. 40 viewers? Fucking 40 people are watching me cry. No. I wouldn't harm anyone, really. Dunn closed his eyes and asked extremely gently, what do you plan on doing? What have you been trying to do all this while? Me, old Neil, was confused at first before he described with a tone filled with hope. I'm trying to resurrect Celeste, Dunn. I found a way. I'm on the right track. You should have heard about it. Back then, I made a mistake during the ritualistic magic to treat her illness, so I failed. I failed to save her. I now know that it was because I had yet to master mysticism, but I now have enough knowledge and experience to complete everything. It's regrettable that I wasn't inspired by the maxim of the mystery priors of Dali's example. I missed the best opportunity. If I was a high sequence beyonder, all of this would become extremely easy. As he spoke, O'Neill's voice sounded tearful. No, I cannot give up again. Then go back, please, I beg of you. I don't want to read this. Klein clenched his teeth as he heard the captain ask emotionally, how do you plan on resurrecting Celeste? O'Neill instantly became very excited. I'll use the alchemical life method to create an immortal body for her. This sounds like something that's Mr. AZIK already. Hold up, I'm speculating. I'm trying to distract myself from this chapter. Thank you for almost 40 people, dude. Done. You might not know of it, but sequence 4 Beyonders from the Church of Mother Earth are good at this. The corresponding sequence in the save-in pathway can barely do it as well. Yes, I will complete it with the aid of God's favor. Then I'll summon her spirit from the spirit world and pray for the goddess's help to combine her spirit and body together. Isn't that great? Ah, man. Isn't that great? Great indeed. Dunn lifted the corner of his lips forcibly and said, yes, it's a great idea. Old Neil, let us in. Perhaps we can help you. Dunn, are you still not willing to let me off the hook? Old Neil pleaded, go back, just go back. I'll return to normal tomorrow. Really? Dunn, I'll swear I'll never steal your coffee beans again. Klein Royale, I swear I won't make you help me with my undeserved claims, really. In Klein and Royale's blurry vision, Dunn lowered his head before lifting it up again. Old Neil, you're misunderstanding. We're here to visit you. Oh, dude, he thinks they're here to kill him, dude. They're like, nah, dude, we're here to save you. We're here to visit you. You are our teammate. You're sick and you aren't well. We definitely needed to visit you. Open the door. Let us see you so that we can be certain. If you're really okay, we'll return you immediately. As you know, there are especially many missions recently. We have to monitor the asylum while we take care of various other sudden incidences. Old Neil hesitated for a moment before saying, there's really nothing serious about my condition. Really, I'll recover by tomorrow. The bloody water that flowed out the gap under the door went down the stairs towards the stone path and onto the garden soil. Old Neil, we've known each other for about 15 years now, right? We've worked on countless missions together. I'm really concerned and worried for you. I have to see you with my own eyes before I'll be at ease, Dunn said gently. Alright, Old Neil pounded. There's really nothing wrong with me. Oh, shit, dude. He's like half turned or whatever. With a creak, the door opened slowly. Klein quickly wiped his eyes and allowed his sight to he wiped his eyes? He's crying. With a creak, the door opened. Klein quickly wiped his eyes and allowed his sight to return to normal. Then he saw the carpet in the lobby was red and sticky, covered in blood and hair. He looked forward and up and only to realize that the living room's floor, ceiling, round table, piano, and chairs were all covered in the same disgusting, sticky, and hairy liquid. Old Neil's head hung... Old Neil's head hung in the air, connected to the ceiling by a thick liquid. His forehead and cheeks each had a pair of eyes. They were cold and ruthless eyes with no eyelashes. The piano's keys were dancing on their own, playing a oh my god, I can't read. Melodious tune. Dunn, look, I'm really okay, Old Neil said with a radiant smile. Royale, Klein, you think so too, right? The moment he opened his mouth, Klein saw the same thick, hairy, and bloody liquid flowing inside. Dunn's gray's eyes shimmered as he chattered like everything was normal. Old Neil, where did you learn the alchemical life and resurrection ritual formula? Old Neil replied excitedly, I heard it. I tried the first part and confirmed its authenticity. It's a gift from God. He kept describing it in my ears. He heard the voices. He kept describing it. He is. Old Neil's voice came to a halt. More than 10 seconds later, he continued in fear and apparent loss. He is the hidden sage. Oh my god. It's from the... Oh, I'm thinking of something else. The hidden sage, isn't that the non-anthropomorphic god that the Moses Ascetic Order believe in? The god that was resurrected, bringing about evil and corruption. The Moses Ascetic Order has a completely mystery prior sequence. Klein's heart stirred as many thoughts came to him. Upon mentioning the hidden sage, Old Neil seemed to finally awake. He looked around vacantly and observed everything. In the indescribable silence, his 6 eyes looked towards Dunn, and he said with a bitter smile, so it turns out that I've already become a monster. All my homies hate this hidden sage. F that guy, dude. There's 40 of you guys here. Thank you. This is a new record. There's 40 of you. Shit, dude. I'm already a monster. It turns out that I've already become a monster. Without waiting for Dunn and the others to reply, Old Neil suddenly revealed a smile. One of the growing fear and cowardice. Let me go. I'll go deep into the mountains and won't appear again. Stop, man. I'll never harm anyone. I'll only attempt my ritual quietly. Really? Let me go, please, I beg you. Just then, Klein felt something illusionary shattering before his eyes. Then Old Neil's 4 cold-looking lashes I can't read, dude. Oh, shit, my eyes are getting blurry. I can't read the screen, dude. Then Olneo's four cold-looking lashes eyes flashed with dark glow and locked onto Dunn. His expression suddenly turned cold. You're pulling me into a dream. No, it's useless. My eyes can see through all of that. The sticky blood that covered the ceiling, floor, and walls started squirming. Like a giant opening its mouth to swallow Klein and company. Old Neil's head grew blurry like overlapping after images. Klein didn't fumble for his revolver. Instead, he extended his hand into his pocket and planned to use his slumber charm. Suddenly, everything calmed down before him. The sticky bloody liquid suddenly turned placid like a still lake. Old Neil lost his coldness, hatred, desires, and all other expressions. He became quiet and peaceful. It was unknown when Dunn had thrown sealed artifact 30611 into the blood. Oh, since the blood is him, he'd be in contact. What if we told you this isn't even the saddest moment? I know, dude. We're barely like on volume 1, dude. Oh, man. I can already see a character that I've been grown to for like 1,000 chapters get set up as a villain or just die. I'm not ready, man. Why am I reading this? Dunn, Klein, and Real drew their glance at the same time, and I skipped the line. I'm gonna reread from here. I'm reading from here. The four lashes eyes on Old Neil's forehead and cheeks slowly closed, seemingly having lost the desire to keep them open. Any living creature that came into contact with the peaceful hair strands would turn peaceful and lose all motivation under the end of their life. Dunn, Klein, and Royale drew their guns at the same time and ate at Old Neil's head. Then, Old Neil revealed a look of extreme fear. He was struggling. His strong desire to live fought against the effects of sealed artifact 30611. The four extra eyes disappeared. The wrinkles at the corners of his eyes and mouth were still deep. His hair was still white. His crimson eyes were still turbid, just like when Klein had first met him. Dunn, do you remember the time I saved you? Royale, do you remember when I helped you redeem your family's lives? Klein, do you remember how I taught you mysticism every day? Do you remember when we talked about how to make claims? Do you remember how I made you hand-ground coffee? Shit, man. Do you remember when we fought against a mandated Punisher's rampager? The illusionary pleading echoed in Klein's ears as his right hand was holding a revolver trembled. Oh, I'm crying, dude. He found it difficult to pull the trigger. Bang, bang. I can't do this. Oh, man. It's hit. Oh, dude, I can't do this. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, this music is way too good, Cammy. You cooked really good with this track. This shit is not helping, man. This shit is getting me more emotional. Bang, bang. They shot at him, dude. The two silver dimming hunting bullets flew out and penetrated Old Neil's head one after another. I'm crying. Damn, you hit it. Man, we're gonna jump him, dude. We are definitely jumping the hidden stage. We're gonna kill them all. The two silver demon hunting bullets flew out and penetrated Old Neil's head one after another. Ah, don't worry. I'm also crying with you. Man, oh, thank you guys. Get your box of tissues. I'm a man. You can do it. Who cut the fucking onions, man? Klein is he's doing that divination shit, dude, when he's putting onion peels around the room. Klein watched as the familiar abnormal face revealed a hopeless expression. He saw the man's skull tear open, the red and white within spreading in all directions. The sticky blood that coated their surroundings started shrinking as it flowed back into Old Neil's broken head that had fallen to the ground. Dunn and Royale lowered the guns simultaneously, and all was silent. Klein looked at everything before him. Old Neil's corpse was becoming a ball of rotten... Wait, what? Klein looked at everything before him. Old Neil's corpse was becoming a ball of rotten flesh. He saw that there was a pair of eyes, crimson and crystal clear, yet incredibly plain amidst the blood and flesh. He felt like everything that had happened was just a dream and found it impossible to bring himself into believing that the sequence of events allowing it had happened. He stood dumbfounded as he saw Dunn take 2 steps forward. His figure stooped. Dunn looked at Old Neil's corpse and muttered heavily. We are guardians, but also a bunch of... the stupid quote came back, man. Dunn looked at Old Neil's corpse and muttered heavily. We are guardians, but also a bunch of miserable wretches that are constantly fighting against threats and madness. I'll look at the artwork right now. I can't even read. Oh, man. This is so sad, bro. This is not even top 7. Get out of here, dude. This is not really top 1. Oh, everybody loved old NIEL. That's why this hits so much. Damn it, dude. Okay. Keep it together, man. You're a grown man. Chapter 165 is. I can't even read the name of the chapter. You guys tell me. It's called Epa something, man. My eyesight is too damn blurry right now. I'm like Klein wiping the tears. Chapter 165 is called Epitaph, First Casualty. Shit, man. We are guardians, but also a bunch of miserable wretches that are constantly fighting against threats of madness. Dunn's words echoed throughout Old Neil's house. They reverberated across the corroded floor, the walls and ceilings, as well as within Klein's mind and soul. He never had a stronger impression of that sequence than the one he had now. He felt that he wouldn't forget this feeling for as long as he lived, even if he were to return to Earth. Oh man, my nose. Amidst the still atmosphere, Dunn walked towards Old Neil's corpse and kneeled down. He took out a white handkerchief from the pocket of his windbreaker and covered it over the dark red crystalline eyeball, which looked pained. Nah. At this moment, Klein noticed that the keys of the piano had stopped moving. A faint, translucent figure appeared. Oh, it's because of the artifact, right? Klein, who had activated his spirit vision before entering the house, froze. He hadn't noticed his strange soul until now. Was it because he was distracted by Old NIEL, or was it due to Old NIEL's abilities after he lost control? Klein saw the formless figure evaporate quickly, vanishing before his very eyes. He had a faint idea of what was going on. Suppressing that heavy feeling in his heart, he heard the captain's order. Search Old NIEL's house for possible clues. Alright, when Klein spoke, it took him a minute to recognize his own voice. His voice was raspy and deep, and it as if he had the flu. That's what I sound like, dude. Man, I sound just like that, dude. I sound like I have the flu. Alright, Royale also replied. The condition of her voice is about the same as mine. It's like our nostrils are blocked. My nostrils are blocked, man. Rest now, Old NIEL. Your nightmare is over. Damn it, dude. The condition of her voice is about the same as mine. It's like our nostrils are blocked. Klein looked at his female teammate, who typically didn't have any of an expression. It was as if he was knowing her for the first time. Placing his cane on an umbrella rack near the door, he made his way around sealed artifact 30611. He took heavy steps into the living room and up the second floor. He dared search every room for the possible clues. Man. Old NIEL employed someone to clean the room. Let's check the first chapter. That's exactly what I said. It's like, let's just read a little bit to get ready for the anime. Old NIEL employed someone to clean the room regularly so the rooms weren't as messy as one would expect of a bachelor. Everything was in order as if it was a female presence in the house. Half an hour later, Klein found a handwritten note on a bookshelf in Old NIEL's room. The notes recorded a weird, mysterious ritual, alchemical life. The materials required included 100 milliliters of spring water from the Spring of Elves, golden spring of Sonia Island, 50 grams of star crystals, half a pound of pure gold, 5 grams of folly, jesting whatever, 30 grams of red iron, and a large quantity of fresh blood from living people. Old NIEL annotated beneath the part about the flesh blood from living. I can consider drawing my own blood, accumulating it little by little, and preserving it using ritualistic magic. Is that why he's always been so skinny and pale? I can consider drawing my own. Klein closed his eyes and crushed notes. On Thursday morning at 9, the time of the moon, Raphael Cemetery. Are we is at the cemetery? On Thursday morning at 9, the time of the moon, Raphael Cemetery. Klein was wearing his black formal suit and holding onto his cane. He stood silently in a corner of the cemetery. He had stuffed a neat white handkerchief in his breast pocket as if he was holding onto a slumber flower. Then Friar Leonard and Cleaning were carrying a black coffin. Oh, shit, man. They were carrying a black coffin that stored Old NIEL's corpse. They slowly walked to the front of the tombstone and silently lowered it into the grave. As she saw the brown soil begin tossed into the grave, Roseanne, who was wearing a black dress and a white flower in her hair, wept. Can someone tell me if this is all happening for real? Oh, man. Damn, dude. Why did he lose control? Why did he consume the potion? Why did he become a Beyonder? Why must there be wraiths and monsters? And why is there Why is there no... I can't read. My eyes are blurry. And why is there no safer way? Why? Clyde silently listened until old Neil's coffin was completely buried in the soil. Until all signs that he existed were buried deep within the earth. Man, I look like shit, huh? Oh, man, I look so bad right now. May the goddess bless you. He drew a crimson moon in front of the chest. Then took a few steps forward and placed the slumber flower in front of the tomb. May the goddess believe you, done fire, and the others tapped at their chests in a clockwise fashion. Clyde looked up straight in his back and saw the black and white photograph of the tombstone. O'Neill was wearing his classical black hat, his white hair peeking out around the edges. The wrinkles beside his eyes and mouth were deep, his dark red eyes a little turbid. He was so peaceful, no longer feeling grief, pain, or fear. Ah, man, there was an epitaph carved underneath the photograph. It came from the contents of the last entry in O'Neill's diary. If I cannot save her, then I shall accompany her. Damn, dude. The morning breeze blew gently. The silence and emptiness of the Raphael cemetery hung. I can't read, man. My eyes. Can't read this shit. Can't read, man. I'm about to crack it. The silence and emptiness of the Raphael cemetery hung over everyone. In the afternoon, Klein took a form signed by the captain to the armory. He opened the half-closed door and saw Brett with a thick black beard behind the table. Klein froze visibly before handing the form over. 50 rounds of ordinary bullets. During his request, he glanced at the thin can on the table. He felt as though he could smell the fragrance of the hand-ground coffee and hear the cheeky words in his ears. By why must you wait till you have spare cash? You can apply to Dunn and get him to approve the expenses. Ah, he's getting a flashback to when he told him that. Damn, man. Brett noticed Klein's expressions inside. I can understand what you're feeling right now. I myself cannot believe that O'Neill would leave us like that. Sometimes I even feel as though it is a dream conjured by the captain. Perhaps this is man, please tell me this is just one big nightmare. by by Dunn Smith, man. Just tell me it's a dream, dude. Perhaps this is just Dunn trying to get his sequence up, man. He's like, you know what really fuck him up if we kill O'Neill? He's like, it's just a prank, bro. Perhaps this is the destiny of many Nighthawks, Klein replied with a bitter smile. After this incident, he felt much more dissipated and hatred towards the upper echelons of the church for keeping the acting method secret. I hate the fucking upper heads in this church. Not church in general, but like the church within the series. Son of a bitch, man. Let's hope that there will be fewer such tragedies. May the goddess bless us. Brute drew a crimson moon in front of his chest. He took the application form and walked into the armory. Bang, bang, bang. The smell of gunpowder filled the air. Klein vented his frustrations out the target he was shooting at. Until he finished shooting the bullets that he had requested, he then collected himself and took a public carriage to Gawain's house. He completed the sets upon sets of exercises as he was torturing himself until Gawain told him to stop. Combat practice isn't there for you to harm yourself. Gawain looked at Klein with his turbid green eyes. I'm sorry, teacher. I'm a little down today. Klein exhaled and attempted to explain. What happened? Gawain asked without a ripple of emotion. Klein thought for a moment and then gave a simple reply. A friend of mine passed away suddenly. Gawain was silent for a few seconds. I can't hear the clapping thing right now. Hearing the clapping at the end of the song is like, it's throwing me, dude. Gawain was silent for a few seconds. He stroked his blonde mustache and said with a fleeting voice, I once lost 325 friends in the span of 5 minutes. Amongst them were 10 that I could trust with my life. Klein sighed in resignation. That is the cruelty of war. Gawain shot a glance at him and let out a self-deprecating laugh. The cruelest thing of all of this is the fact that I can never exact revenge for them. I can never fulfill their dreams, and the answers elude me forever. As for you, you still have such a chance, even though I don't exactly know what happened. I know that you're still young. You have many opportunities. Oh man, my nose. Klein was silent for a moment. He took in a breath and collected himself. Thank you, teacher. Gawain nodded and said without any expression, take a 10-minute break. Then do 10 more sets of exercises you were doing just now. Klein was momentarily unsure what expression he should show. Friday morning in the recreation room of the Nighthawks. Klein, Sikatron, and Fryer were seated around the round table. They weren't playing cards. One of them was flipping through newspapers, and the other was looking out the Oreo windows in daze. And the last was holding on to a pen, wanting to write something but failing to do so. The room was quiet, no one spoke, and no one joked around. The atmosphere was heavy. Klein exhaled. He lowered his newspaper and planned to focus on reading the materials he had found. At that moment, Dunsmith knocked and entered the room. He looked around before saying, Klein, come out for a moment. Oh, dude, it's ready. What happened? Klein, who had a premonition of what was happening, stood up and made his way out of the recreation room. Then stood at the entrance of the stairway leading to the basement. He turned and looked at Klein. The person that the Holy Cathedral sent is here. The person examining me is here. Klein's nerves tensed. That's what they saw. So the lady was his wife, right? Oh, man. No, it's, the music changes. Let me do this. This is messed up, dude. There was more art. Remember, look at the DM for... I got you. But there's more artwork. What is this from? Oh, snap. Oh, wait. I can't show that. This is like a manga panel, right? Like, is this all fan-made stuff or what is it? You skipped the best one? Okay. Can I show this? Wait, is this fan art or what is this from? The best one. This is all fan made. Okay, it's fan made. I'm so sad, dude. I'm so sad. I'm so fucked up. Is fan made? Okay, let's go through it. And the name of the song is All Was Well. Yeah. Okay, let me show the stream. They have a lot of crackhead artists. Okay, let me show you guys. Oh man, they messed me up. So this is how it was. So this was them walking to his house. This is when they chimed the bell and they heard the piano. And that's what they saw. That's why I said it was seeping into the soil. Look right there. It was seeping into the soil and it was dripping down. Man, I'm about to cry again, dude. This is so bad. You guys wanted me to read this? I'm so... this breaks my heart, dude. And then that's when they saw when he opened the door and said, I'll be okay tomorrow. And then he realized, I'm a monster already, huh? Man. I liked Old Neil so much. He was such a good character. That comic had more? Oh, I got it. Right? I got it. Thank you. That's the eye. There's 5 images I sent. Thank you. Oh, wait, is that safe to show? Yeah, it's safe. Just scroll down a little bit quick. Okay, hold up. Okay. Man. So that's the wife. He's wiping away his tears. Man. That's Klein, right? Yeah, because you said he was wiping away the tears? Shit, man. That's when they opened it, and it was this floating head, right? With the blood lacerating across everything. Ah. Nah, man. What the fuck? This is so messed up, man. This was only the first death. This is only the first death in Lord of Mysteries, and I'm already this fucked up, man. There's no Lord of Mysteries tomorrow, man. I need a day to recover. What a way to start the morning with tears and anguish. Oh, man. This is where it all starts. That's when they aim their weapons. He's like, nah, just give. He's like, this is where he was like, give me another day, right? Oh, that's when he picked up his arm and aimed. Oh, that's when he dropped it, right? Or when he threw the sealed artifact. Yes, right. The strands is fair. And then, oh wow, you can see how he lost all feelings. Damn, man, this is all fan made. These guys are good. Man, this will be sure to seem some lovely dreams tonight. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have some beautiful dreams tonight. Oh, Klein's crying, aiming at him. Oh, and this is the flashback. Oh, just apply, just ask Dunsmith. Yeah, look. He's thinking back, right? On the coffee. Remember the grounded coffee I made for you? Remember all the divination lessons I taught you? Oh, man. Yeah, when they both shot. I didn't want to watch the anime anymore. That's the last picture, right? Oh, shit. Oh, that's where he says it. Yes, he was covering his corpse, right? Or his face. I hope they just skip the scene. This is too much. I don't want to watch. I don't want to relive this. We have here for the entire volume that's being a beyonder brings danger by itself. We couldn't be happy forever. Ah, man, this is gonna like how many episodes was the anime gonna be, man? I already forgot. I don't remember. It was peak. That was a pretty big chapter. I think that was my favorite fight. Even though technically it wasn't a fight, it was. I think that was my favorite. Like, I think this is my favorite moment in the series so far. Yeah. How many episodes season 1 be? I think they said, oh, 12 episodes. This is gonna be like episode 8 or 9, right? Whole anime 14 episodes. This is gonna be like the third or fourth to last episode or something. Yeah, this is either 10 or 9. Well, some people say it was gonna be like a. It's probably gonna be like a season, right? Like a regular anime season, 12 episodes, give or take, minus +1, and they're gonna be like an hour long. Shit, man. I won't be ready for the next fight. I'm not ready, man. I know the next. Actually, don't tell me when's the next fight. Don't even hit and tell me when's the next fight. Just no hints. No hints when the next fight's coming up. I already forgot. It's like I think it's in the 200s. I think it's close to the end of the volume. Ah, man. 14 chapters in 1 episode? Yeah, I can see that. Oh, man. This was sad. So, wait, just to clarify. It was the wife. So the eyes behind him was his late wife. Right? That's the nature of Elohim. You keep fighting until you lose yourself. Wait till we get to the 200s. Okay, so it's 13 chapters and 12 episodes. Yeah. Is it gonna be like 200 plus? Ah, man. So from the very beginning of the series, the old eyes he was seeing. Oh, it was the hidden sage, not his wife. So the eyes were the hidden sage observing him. No, the eyes are the hidden sage whisper. Oh, you're right. So the eyes behind old NIEL was the hidden sage whispering to him that, oh, hey, if you want to bring her back, do this. Wait till we get to the end. Shit, man, it's gonna be a while. We'll get to it. So the eyes was the hidden sage telling him to bring back his wife, right? And I assume the lady in the picture is his wife, right? Yeah. Oh, look, and she's like covered in drapes, like in her wedding gown. The one he never married. What was it? If I can't save her, I'll join her. Man, we got it. All my homies are gonna jump the hidden sage. That's all I can say. Yeah, maybe if he was a lot higher in his sequence pathway, maybe he could have saved her, right? Or he probably could have brought her back. Man, what the hell? Why is the hidden sage even doing this? What did old NIEL do to him? Probably not, to be honest with this information. I do wonder if we succeeded. Man, what did old NIEL do to the hidden sage? Like, what did he do to him? Huh? That's what I want to know. All right, man. I think we're gonna end it there. That messed me up. I need 2 cups of coffee. I'm gonna go make more coffee. I'm gonna make another cup of coffee for him. I've had too much. I've had spoiler. Okay, I won't read. I've had too much coffee. But I think I need more coffee. If it was a spoiler, I don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about coffee. It's alright. I won't reach out. It's okay if it was a spoiler. Oh, man. Luckily, I'm too emotional to remember what I just read. Oh, man. Alright. We're going to end it right there. Oh, it's a spoiler if you answer why. Toast for old NIEL. I don't have nothing here to toast with. I took out everything. You haven't looked at the PowerPoint? I'll look at it. I got you. Oh, man. Look what username did right here. Look. You got all the characters. You got Dunn Smith. And then look, deceased. Ah, that hits hard, man. You got the blood splatter and everything. Ah, man. The gray fog. Ritualistic magic. I like this part. This is such a little subtle touch. Look, you got the table. You got the characters. And you got the little symbols next to it. I already forgot all the theories I've said, man. I don't even remember what I've said. Good night, you're gonna sleep? Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Ah, man. Ah. Oh, you put that right away, huh? AZIK is deaf? Yeah, there you go. Damn, you were quick when I said that, huh? Ah, that was quick. You said that before I said it. I was like, maybe it's part of the chemical life, right? Just like old NIEL brought back his wife, maybe somebody brought back AZIK, aka deaf, after what's it called, after the gods took him down. Oh man. Ah, shit. I'm so sad. All right, guys, go get some rest. I know I need some rest. There is 1000% more Lord of Mysteries read through tomorrow. I'm gonna take a break. I need Ellie. I need to go hug my dog, man. I need to go hug my girl. That shit fucked me up. He just write your theory, not the truth. No, I know. It's okay. Yeah, no, he wrote all that stuff down for me. He was super quick. Thank you, username. All right, guys. If you like, man, you're crazy if you like this reaction. I'm fucking sad and depressed. Well, if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you like, comment, sub. We've been streaming for almost 5 hours, and this is like a 3+ hour video. Whew, man, this was hands down our longest Lord of Mysteries video. Oh man, good thing it's a Sunday. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Get some rest. Go hug your dog, man. Go hug your loved ones and tell them you love one, because you never know when they might turn into monsters and then have floating heads in the ceiling because they're trying to bring back their deceased loved ones. And then you gotta get your sealed artifact and, you know, put them to rest. You know, you never know. Go hug your loved ones. Go hug your friends, man. Go hug your friends, your coworkers, people in your inner circle, man. Tell him you love them. Tell him like, hey, man, I know you don't know old NIEL, but he's been through a lot. Clan's been through a lot. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling on this outro. Thank you. You had like 40 people today. That was pretty crazy. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you this week, in the coming week. This week, no, not Monday. Well, I'll see you guys Tuesday. All right, guys, take care. Bye, and have a beautiful, lovely day. The file cards, yeah. All right, guys, take care.